to lower onto our thumbs now.
So I'm going live right now.
Okay, go live.
Percolating. Oh, I forgot to pull this up. If I can find that real fast. Okay.
Nice bird sounds there.
All right.
Yeah,
we had
don't have.
What? Sorry, we had a marmot here the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
Was it big?
Well, it was like marmot size. Yeah, they're pretty big. They're like maybe like 2.5 feet long or something.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Or maybe like 2 foot or something. I don't know. They're
That's
decent
weird.
size.
They're not usually down this low.
I guess they come down here, but to play our little. Oh wait, I need to do that first. Screen share.
Oh yeah.
And then I can play the little the video intro thing I made for some reason because it was fun. Welcome to Drawing Nature In. We're talking about the most important principle today, the care principle. That's over with. Yeah, so care is the subject of the day. It's also known as the generative principle, and we'll talk about why that is in a little bit here. So stop this share. Okay.
Okay, we could do the meditation now too.
Yes. You can go ahead and start that. I'll switch my camera over to looking at me. So.
All right. So we're just gonna come into the present moment by breathing deeply into our stomach. You can put your hand on your heart if you'd like to connect your mind to your heart. I'm just going to ask the Creator to inspire us with images and words and ideas that might be helpful to humanity at this time as we discuss the generative principle. And so it is. That was a That was a short one, but what the hell?
Whatever.
I just hear sounds outside my room, and
now what I do?
What?
Did something.
You're back now. No, now you're gone. Hi.
I'm back.
Hold on a second. Okay. Did you eat? I ate lunch. Okay. Okay. Go. Good. That's a good idea. I'm sorry I have to do it by yourself. All right. Thanks, honey. Bye. All right. I'm back.
No worries. We're good.
Kurt planted trees and he has to go water them because it's going to be 95 degrees tomorrow.
Good plan.
So I guess I'm just going to do a An intuitive drawing. I have no idea.
Cool. Yeah, do whatever you want.
I don't know. I have like no desire to do anything, but I'm going to force myself because
It's the time of the hour.
it's the time of the hour. So too bad that I don't have any desire to, because I need to.
It's good to be forced into stuff sometimes, right?
Yeah, I think the show forced me into it. So, I mean, that's actually that kind of goes right into the care principle, because I honestly I have lost my care about art, or had lost it, due to our charming world situation. I just didn't think art really mattered anymore.
Right.
But you know what? I've come to realize that it's actually the most important thing, honestly. Images are the most important thing. And unfortunately, people who know how to do art don't realize that. And they think some other thing is more important, like talking or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate. But images are really
real important.
I mean, that they have stolen our images totally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really sad, but
Mm-hmm.
I realized I have a duty to continue.
Yeah.
And try to encourage other people to do it, to make their own images for themselves and not look at their images.
Right. Well, care is important. Care is like a driving force. That's why it's the generative, also known as the generative principle, because what you were just saying is like you care essentially about Earth and the people on Earth. And so you think it's important to create imagery to help the situation here on Earth so that we have more freedom and less to worry about authority less and stuff like that. So yeah. And the fact that you care is like a motivating factor that helps to continue on with the great work, which is what we're doing here. By having this salon and these discussions and the art that we've been creating.
Yeah, during the time of entropy, when nobody gives a shit, or nobody's willing to go that extra mile, or
their care is in a different, they care more about distractions, like, that aren't really like doing anything to help with positive change. That makes sense. Like what most people do, like recreational activities that don't really do much to help. In fact, sometimes they actually harm,
What do you mean? How do they harm? Oh, because they harm the Earth, right?
It could, yeah. I mean, depending on what you're like. I mean, I guess if you're a hunter, if you go around hunting all the time, that is harming animals. Or, I mean, I think there's a time and a place for hunting for survival reasons, but as far as just doing it for sports, that's like a different, like there's a lot of people that just fish for sport, or and even just catch and release. And it's like, just
Oh yeah,
because you're
catch and release
putting
is
the
horrible.
fish back in the water doesn't necessarily help. I mean, it's at least you're not killing the fish. I guess,
Well, maybe
with
they're going to
that,
die
but
right after that because they just went through a huge trauma. I mean, who knows whether they
it
survive
can
after being
happen.
caught.
Some of those fish
I don't know.
will have food trauma, you know, and so they might not eat food anymore and die because they thought they were eating some food and it was hooked their mouth and that was painful. And so now they're like, yeah, I guess I'm not supposed to eat food. Which isn't good.
Well, it's that's such a uncaring thing to do. Oh, we're just going to release it. Oh, would you like to have someone come along and hook your mouth with a giant hook and then just kick you out too? Would that be good? You want to try that? That would be nice. Sure.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Right?
I mean, there's so many things we do that are so destructive. It's unbelievable to me, honestly.
There's a lot of things, yeah. I mean,
Thoughtless.
right.
It's incredible.
I mean, even something as simple as just the fact that we have all these cars and like we had to build all these roads cutting through forests and, you know, so we can have stuff centralized. So we have to drive everywhere to get stuff.
So the care principle is when you think about everything, you think about everything's origin and you think about what you're doing every day. Like when you go to the store and you buy something that's in a lot of packaging, you think about that. You think about what you're going to do with the packaging after you get your thing out that you need or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the care
Mm-hmm.
things, the things about care. And then also care is taking the time to do things right, not
Mm-hmm.
rushing through things. I think that a long time ago I'm not sure, like I don't think you needed the idea of care a long time ago because I think care was part of just living.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Mark Passio brought that in because maybe I'm wrong about this. I just don't know. It seemed like he kind of made that up because it needs to be a principle now because we do things so half-assed now. I don't know. Maybe he didn't make it up.
There's a lot of people that have just given up and they don't care. They're just like slobs and they just like chuck like shit out their window when they're driving, like so their car doesn't get messed up. They're like, oh, I'm done with my soda, you know, just chuck it out the window. I was just out like right before I left on that trip, like about a month ago. I had raked all these like sticks out of the creek so we could go like wading in there, you know, and stuff without walking on a bunch of sticks. So we got lots of rain while we were gone and like a bunch more sticks, like this huge pile of sticks flew in there, right? And so I was raking some of those out again earlier today. And I pulled like probably like 10 things of trash out of it when I was doing that too. Like I pulled like a Solo cup out. I pulled 2 like soda cans out. I pulled one of those like flag things that like marks, they used to mark like gas lines and different lines that are underground and stuff. Pulled one of those out of the creek. I pulled like some weird chunk of plastic that I don't even know where it came from out of the creek. Underneath some of the sticks were literally like cut logs that was like probably someone's firewood, you know. They were totally like waterlogged. And then, but yeah, and I pulled like a 2-foot 2x4 out. It's all just in this mesh of leaves or sticks. And now I can go wading in that section of the creek again. But I was actually honestly kind of surprised with that. Oh, I also, guess what else I pulled out? A poker chip.
What? Oh, because are you on the way to Blackhawk?
No, I think it's probably like there's this bar like up the road in downtown, and they do like, or at least they used to. I don't know if they still do it. Like you could, like if you bought like a pitcher of beer, they'd give you like a poker chip, you know, and that poker chip was good for like a free beer or something. Like if you bought like if you like buy like 5 beers or something, then you get like a chip for like a free beer. Or I don't remember. I can't remember how it works, but some deal for like a free beer. And so I think that might be what it came from, but I could be wrong.
That's funny.
That is funny, isn't it?
I mean, it's not funny that it ended up in the creek, but yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it is truly amazing to me how we are. And it's amazing to me that it's getting worse, and that we knew it was going to get worse, and it is getting worse. It's amazing to me that people are falling for this bullshit, and that nobody's saying, hey, wait a minute, I think I'm going to care. Hey, wait a second, I think I'm going to actually care, because that's the opposite of what we're doing right now. And what about my children, the generations to come? I'm going to actually care about those generations, the children that I have here. I'm going to care about their lives and actually do something different. Yeah, it's just amazing to me that it's not happening. It's amazing. I
think there are some people out there, you know, that do care to a certain level, you know, but that needs to be like brought up a notch.
Yeah, a notch, dude. A notch. That's right. A notch.
Like several notches, or like a lot of notches.
Like many notches. I mean, it is amazing to me, like how we've had like you know, a few meetings. We've had like we have the access to the Independence Institute, which is downtown, which is like, I think, the Libertarian building. And we have gotten it for free for meetings, and people have just not showed up. It's incredible to me. No one's showing up. It's like, oh, they're like, maybe, you know, they think, I don't know what they're thinking, but they're thinking something like, oh, everything's fine now. That's what they're thinking, I guess. And they're not coming. We've had a few meetings now where no one has showed up. So we've canceled it because no one's showing up. And that's incredible to me, because like the solution to this is to get community together. I mean, it's like we're not even looking at history. Like we're not looking at like the Holocaust and what happened to produce that, and you know, how this very thing happened right before that. And yeah, it's just mind-blowing to me, really, honestly, mind-blowing that we just don't care. We don't care. That's what it is. We don't care to make that effort. We just somehow just think it's okay that we're not going to make that extra effort.
Right.
It's weird. And the other thing it seems weird, like, is like if you don't keep things going, they just disappear into the,
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, you could have been doing something with somebody for a long time, but if you miss a few, it just goes away. Like people just, it
Mm-hmm.
just gets forgotten that you used to do that thing with that person and you can't get
I
it
think
going again.
it's like that attention span issue. Like people don't, they just don't, you know, have that. I don't know if it's the attention span or whatever. They're just like, it's not right in front of their face every, you know, every day or every 2 days or at least once a week or something. Then they don't even like they just forget about it so easily. Weird.
Yeah, but what about why not me? Why am I not like that? Why am I like, I'm standing here screaming in this windstorm and I'm like, why am I still the same as I was before? I don't understand. Like it doesn't seem to have affected me much. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I see your point. Yeah.
It's just weird to me. Like, I mean, weird shit is definitely going on. Like, you know, my boyfriend comes home and he tells me that somebody's sister died and they don't know how she died. And I immediately think, I know how she died. I go, in my mind, I go, oh, I bet I know how she died, right? And then I don't
Uh,
say anything, right? I wait. And then we
right.
keep talking about it. And then I say, well, what do you think happened to her? And he says, oh, she probably got the jab. And I go,
Uh-huh.
that's what I thought.
Right.
And then we just go on. You know, we go on because what are we going to do about that?
Life
Well,
goes on.
we're just going to keep going, keep on keeping on, you know. And but then people like know this shit and yet they still don't care enough to like get into community, and it's almost like it just like we gave up on it somehow from the
Uh-huh.
last time.
Right.
Like we cared about it back in 2008 when the stock market crashed, or when they you know reappropriated our belongings to them one more time through a fake
Uh-huh.
crash. Um,
Right.
we cared about it back then, and we tried to build it, and then the pot laws changed, and we got a bunch of money, and things got crazy here.
Right.
And now people just don't give a shit about community somehow. Like they just think it's not going to matter. I don't know. It's so fucking weird. It's such a
Well, it's
weird.
weird too, like I feel like the with the pot laws even they're like it's less like of a community to like smoke weed now than it used to be. Because now everyone just has like whatever, they just get their own and they just keep it to themselves. And like it used to be like, oh cool, like you got a bag, let's like all smoke together. Or maybe it's just because I'm not in college anymore, or I have kids, so I don't hang out with a bunch of people anymore as much. But um, I feel like there's less of community even in the smoking culture.
Right. There's no smoking culture.
Like I feel like there was one before it was legalized though.
Right.
Or maybe it's just
There was
because I had like a
camaraderie.
bunch of
There was
friends.
camaraderie amongst those who smoked, right?
Uh-huh.
To uh to smoke together.
Yeah.
But now you might get COVID if you smoke with each, I don't know. I mean, I just think that's the most ridiculous thing on earth. I actually had what I think they would have called it the other day. Like I had that, I was sick,
Yeah, I think I did too, like a couple of months ago.
and it was a bad cold, and I still have it in my lungs. That's how I know that they would have called it that. But I know damn well
It
it
was
was
like
just a
a
fucking
different
cold.
feeling. It had like a slightly different feeling to me, the one I had, like in my lungs. It was like just like
Yeah, I
it
still
was
have it. I'm doing a steaming with turpentine every night because it won't leave my lungs. That's how I know that if I had gotten whatever they would have told me I had it or whatever. But the thing is I know my mom had this, back in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it's nothing new. This is the same shit. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
cold. And, but if you guys want to think that it's something different so that we can like destroy ourselves, well, go for it. That's fine. Go ahead.
Well, a bunch of billionaires got together and said, let's rebrand the cold and make a ton of money off of it from government. We're going to skip the whole buying in the market. That's way too hard. There's no guarantees there. But if you convince government that they need to pay you for this medicine because they rebranded this thing, then you skip the whole market process and you just get the money straight from government. Isn't that better than having to like go out in the marketplace with your offer and hope that, people accept it? It's better to just have government pay for it and then they enforce it on the people. And
yeah, it's amazing.
Make you look like a piece of trash if you don't partake in their forced, well, it's not really forced, but they make you feel guilty, like if you don't do it, or something.
Well, what's amazing to me about all that is that they're printing the money. So I find it weird.
That's what I mean.
It's like, you print the money, so why do you care? Like, why don't you just print some more money for yourself? Like, what, why don't you see that the money itself is a scam? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Go print,
yeah,
print
it totally is.
It's just all an illusion. I can't even believe it. I'm like, are you guys, you guys are definitely smart in a certain way intellectually, but you're dumb as fuck, man. You're like dumb as posts. If you think this is like real, it's just
money
crazy.
Is the biggest religion on planet Earth, and people are so attached to it. Like it's like it's so calcified in people's psyche that it's like, you're like, oh, like people can't even imagine a world without money where they have to share things and like have responsibility. They're like, no, but the whole point of money is so you don't have to have responsibility. And you can just, like, if you don't want to clean your toilet, you just have someone more desperate that will take the money and clean your toilet for you.
Really? You think that, huh?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like, I think
true.
that's what the elite think. They're just like, they're sitting there. We can print as much money as we want and sit up in our castles and, do whatever we want. And we're going to laugh at all the people toiling, working their asses off in the rat race just to make a few pennies to feed their families. And the sad thing is anytime anyone tries to mess with that whole belief system, they just stick their thugs on them. And they're like, hey, thug armies, guess what? These people they don't believe in our currency anymore. So why don't we'll just start killing a bunch of them until they are so overwhelmed that they have to accept it. Not good. Not good.
No, it's not good. No, you're right. It's not good. It's not good. Not good.
And that's part of my driving care is I care about the world and I care about people. So I want to put an end to that if possible. Because if there's enough people, that see what we see and the fact that that's all just like a big gotcha scam, Ponzi scheme, whatever you want to call it, it's like, including people in the border followers and the armed forces and police and stuff like that, they realize it and then they can exercise conscience and they can be like, wait a minute, why am I listening to these people? They're like trying to force some shit on us so they can have a leg up on everyone else, you know? Like, I almost did a piece like that for the Truth Show, but I was kind of like, I'm going through this whole progression of my art pieces, like following this natural law stuff. And that piece is still going to come, but I still have, like, you know, a lot of pieces that are leading up to that still that I have to do, you know? And so that'll be in the next one or something, you know? Because, you know, I wanted to have like a, you know, I still will do this painting someday. Just like, you know, it just like has like a soldier just like putting down a gun on the ground and just being like on both sides, like you have like one side lined up and then the other side lined up and they're about ready to like just like charge each other. And then instead of charging each other, they just put down all their weapons and then they just go like shake hands and have a conversation with each other or hug each other or something. I don't know. That might have to be an animation.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, it's funny because it's not funny, but like this kid that Kurt knows, who he had hired as a helper, just graduated high school, and he wanted to be a carpenter, but he decided instead to go into the Marine Corps. And Kurt tells me about this, and I just stand there and I just didn't say anything because I just didn't want to say anything because to me it was horrifying. I was horrified that this kid, 16, 17, 18 years old, has chosen to go into the Marine Corps. And I understand why, because he feels like he doesn't have a structure to grow in. Like he wants, he got some, he didn't get very good, I guess, learning from his mom. I know his mom, and she's a therapist. So right there, that pretty much tells me she didn't really help him much. And he didn't have a dad.
Well,
and so now he chose, instead of being a carpenter, it's kind of funny in the biblical sense, he chose to join up with the Satanist cult. And he's a really good kid too. But it's just sad. It's like, wow, you just joined up with the Satanists rather than being a carpenter, which would have taught you plenty. You would have learned a lot from being a carpenter.
And it's actually not a bad bracket to be in right now because there's so many houses are being built.
Yeah, no, he could have, but he just, I'm sure he must have just felt like, you know, he wanted the security of being herded around by a bunch of, you know, being told what to do. Like he just wanted to be told what to do and have that responsibility taken off his shoulders of having to think critically for himself. And, you know, Kurt tells me about this. And see, the thing is, Kurt, like he's so fucked up from his military experience that when he talks about it fondly as if it's a good thing. So I don't even bother like saying anything. Not that it matters. See, I just already know that it doesn't matter what I say because it's not my kid. I don't even know the kid. I haven't even met the kid. So it doesn't even matter. So I'm not even gonna get into it. But it's just like, you know, in a way they even admire him. They're even proud of him for going into the military. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, how could you fucking say that? You know, how could you actually?
Just the way they've brainwashed people into thinking that that's like a noble thing to do.
Yeah, you're gonna go into, and then they actually still believe that they're fighting for our freedom. It's so ridiculous.
No, they're not. They're basically there just to keep us underneath the elite's thumb. Is all they're there for. If they really knew what they were, which are guard dogs, then they might not do it. You know what I mean?
Oh, fuck yeah, no.
If they knew they were just guard dogs, then they probably wouldn't be getting into that.
Right. No,
Sad,
and it's just
but
incredible. It's incredible to me that these people don't have a clue about this. It's just amazing. I'm just like, wow. I just know way, way, way more than I even want to know anymore, but I needed to know what I know, because if I didn't know it, I probably would have fallen into um, the peer pressure. I remember Kurt asked me one time, he's like, why are you researching all this stuff? And I'm like, I have no idea, but I have to do it. I fucking feel like I absolutely have to do it, or that's what I have to do. So I'm just following it. Now I'm like, well, I guess I know now why I had to do it. It was like self-preservation. It was like a way to understand. It was actually, again, it goes back to care, because I care about myself and my life, even though on a daily basis, like sometimes I get annoyed with the whole thing and I just want to get out of here. I obviously care, or I have a higher purpose in being here. And that higher purpose drove me to, spend countless hours listening to these fucking podcasts, which I can't believe I actually did that. I really cannot believe it. Because normally I would not be able to listen to those podcasts without video, But no, I listened to them day in, day out while I was eating lunch at Home Depot. Oh my God, what a nightmare. I mean, it was extremely painful, because I would leave, I would be sitting there in the break room listening to Mark Passio talk about the very thing I was working at, and then I would get out of there, and I'd have to go back to work, and it was fucking hell. It was hell. But it was it kept me focused on what I was doing, because it was just such a horrible place to work. There was so much dishonesty, lies, cheating, stealing going on around me in the name of, like, they had this whole reputation of being like this great company or whatever, because the original company, I think, was really great before they sold out to the fucking whatever people, psychopathic corporate bullshit. And yeah, it was unbelievable. So I would sit there and listen to that. And I mean, now I'm like, wow, I'm really glad I did that, because now I know. And this poor kid doesn't know. He thinks he's doing the right thing by going into the military. Oh my God. Just like these other people think they're doing the right thing by getting jabbed. Like, they actually think this is the right thing to do.
Well, all the media has told them that this is, you're a scumbag if you don't do it. So of course they're like, oh, I don't want to be a scumbag. I want to be accepted by other people and my peers. So I'm going to stick this in me.
Yep, it's amazing. It's amazing. So then, then somebody dies, some young person dies, and people are like, what could they possibly have died of? And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, whatever. Don't ask me. Just don't talk to me about it.
You don't want to hear my answer.
You don't want to hear what I have to say. Let me tell you right now. You don't want to know. Right. So I just stand there, and I just have this certain smirk on my face, and then I just wait for them to say, well, I wonder if it was the shot. And then Kurt tells me that this guy he's working for right now, of course, him and his wife both got it, right? And he's not having any problems, but she's having a lot of problems. God knows what fucking problems she's having. And they're super rich. They live up there in the mountains, and in Conifer or something. And who knows what kind of problems she's having now? You know what I mean? And guess what? Money's not going to buy you out of this one, because you can't go to the doctor. You can't go to the doctor and get help. anymore. Like you just literally, like I have a physical ailment that is has never been something that I could cure with doctors, but of course it's progressing now because I'm getting older. And I had
Mm-hmm.
a thought, I was thinking about it last night, and I'm like, well, you just can't, there's no way that you will ever be able to get surgery or anything for this. So you're going to have to figure it out. Because now, if I went to a hospital, oh my God, you know, they'd just kill me right away because I haven't gotten the jab.
I don't know
So,
about that, but
oh yeah, it's happened to quite a few people that I know. Like the people that go to the hospital and they immediately they try to put them on a ventilator, like their dad or
that's
whatever.
if they have like symptoms of COVID. If you go there to like have your broken arm fixed, you're not going to be like,
I don't
oh,
know.
you need to go on a ventilator.
I don't know about that. I don't know, but I don't want to put myself in that position. So I'm just going to have to figure it out. Like I've been, working on it for years
Like,
and years
I
and
know
years.
people who have gone in for surgery and they didn't get put on a ventilator.
Oh, good. Recently?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
They had a surgery, they had their surgery, came out, and they were good.
Oh, good. Well, I don't intend to
I'm
be in
just
a
saying that
position.
you could probably, if you need to have a surgery for something, you can probably go have that done.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to go down that road. I don't want to go down that road. All I'm saying is like, I just don't, the whole thing, I want nothing to do with this civilization now at all. So I just continue to work on dealing with it naturally. But
Yeah.
I mean, just to hear about what, and again, I think what we're still talking about care at this point. Maybe not the
Oh, yeah.
generative principle, but I mean, the generative principle is,
I mean, it's just like we are talking about care because we care that these injustices are happening, and that we don't want it to keep happening, so we need to get out of it.
yeah, I mean, I just
And
wish there was a way that we could put a stop to all the shit that's going on, like how they're destroying the planet and everything. But I don't feel like, I don't know if I can really affect any change in that area, because the people who are destroying the planet have way more power than I seem to have.
right.
Because they're corporations and they're order followers, and people just going along with it, just like
Mm-hmm.
they just get after destruction, just keep on
Mm-hmm.
destroying it. And now they have these weird ideas about carbon dioxide, like that carbon dioxide is bad, and so anything that but meanwhile plants depend on carbon dioxide in order to live. So but so what is
Mm-hmm.
with this agenda? They're gonna like make sure that there's no plants left.
Right.
Who
Right.
knows? I mean, I heard Andy talking about this in a video. He did an interview with who was it that he did an interview with? Oh, Tom Barrett, who Barnett. Do you know who Tom Barnett is?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I really like his work. He's in Australia. So Andy did an interview with him, and I was watching the interview last night. It hasn't been published. I mean, I think it's been published in Australia, but Andy hasn't published it. And they were talking about these things, climate change and the agenda and all this shit. And I was just like, wow, this is like so much bigger than I could ever affect any change about. I mean, the only thing I feel like I could do is make some art that people might talk about,
Well, there you go.
and
That's how we
hopefully,
change.
and I just hope that, knowledge that people waking up and talking about this stuff is enough,
Uh-huh.
But like, I just heard this thing. I heard this thing that here's a totally fucked up thing. In the mountains where you live, there's somehow or another, there's these companies. I guess the state has decided that there's too many trees. Have you heard this shit?
Mm-mm.
There's too many trees because, there could be a fire. So now they have to thin the trees out. And so they literally convince homeowners that they have eminent domain and have the right to come on their property and take their trees out.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of this shit?
No.
No. So I guess in Conifer, like where Kurt's been working, he told me about it. And I'm like, these people they don't have the right to do that. But they would have to, recognize that they have a allodial title to their land, and therefore they would have to like do some work, some research to discover that they have the right to say no to this. Just because the state is saying that this needs to happen and insurance companies are saying this needs to happen, they could say no, but they don't. They just think, oh, the state says this has to happen, so therefore I have to let this happen. And so what they're doing is they're basically cutting down so many of the trees to prevent there being like, if there's a fire, it's insurance, because the insurance companies don't want to pay for like,
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to thin the trees out to the point where it's not the mountains. Like, why did you fucking move to the mountains?
Yeah,
if
so
you didn't?
it's like goes back to money, because insurance companies don't want to pay people money for if there's a forest fire. Oh, so we have to clear all the trees out.
You gotta get
No
rid
more
of the
trees
trees.
allowed. Trees are
Bad.
aren't good for insurance companies, so we can't have those anymore.
Right. Exactly. And the people just go along with it because they're fucking lazy and stupid. I mean, I can't believe it. They don't care enough. They just say, they just turn around. They turn their backs on it.
Yeah, and then they play the fear game on them. They're like, oh, well, if you don't cut down your trees, your house will burn down. Oh, wow, shit, I'm cutting my trees down right now then.
Right, but what right do you have to cut down the trees? I mean, the trees, that's murder. I mean, people would think I'm crazy to say that.
They've been here for a long time. I have some really beautiful trees on my property here that are just massive beauties.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's great. You're very fortunate.
Like, I have these blue spruce trees that are just like humongous. And they are awesome.
That's amazing. I'm very happy for you that you have those trees. I really wish we just are planting little baby trees, and by the time they're big, we'll be like old people. But
I'll show you guys some trees I have. Take a little field trip here for a second.
Oh, you're going to show us your trees?
Well, I'll just kind of point my camera over there.
Yeah, I see the one that's right there.
That's a nice one.
That's an amazing tree.
Yes.
Wow, look at all that. Those trees are amazing. Truly.
Like, look at that. Those behind my shed.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Massive.
Truly.
There's one back there that it's like the trunk at the bottom is so big you can't even get if you go to hug it, you will not get your arms around it.
That's amazing.
Thick. Yeah. So yeah, beautiful trees everywhere.
Yeah, that's amazing. See, and that's probably part of the reason you moved up there was to have trees, right?
I like trees, yeah.
That was part of why you wanted to get the hell out of the city, was because there's not enough trees in the city. So
yeah, that definitely was a factor.
But they, what the fuck? I mean, what could they possibly want to gain from that,
Luckily, yeah, I don't know. Well, just they don't have as big of a liability. These insurance companies are mega powerful. and they have a
Right. Well,
lot
I
of,
mean, but then they also will be able to see what's going on they'll be have more, visibility to what's going on your property. They get you to believe that they have control over your property.
right.
You don't like what they're doing, but they get you to believe that they have control, and then you're going to be less likely to question it next time when they have something else that they want.
Right.
God knows what
Right.
the
Right.
next thing will be,
For sure. Yeah, no, you're
because
right.
then you might have to recognize at some point you're going to have to, because you would have to go, oh shit, I was wrong to let them cut down my trees because they didn't really have the right to do that. You're going to be less likely to want to admit that down the road when you've let
Right.
them do it, something that you really,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can only imagine that that's what you'd have to tell yourself, some stupid lie like that, and
Like,
believe it.
oh, I cut down all my trees on my property and I live on a hill. And so now there's nothing to hold the dirt up. So my whole house slid down the
Yeah,
hill.
damn right. Right. Then they can take your fucking land, probably. Right.
And then it's just like the insurance companies, like, they have to pay out for that anyways. And that's probably more expensive than if they had just had to rebuild the house that burned down. Because now you have to re-excavate things. Oh man, would that be a mess?
Yeah, no, it's insane. I mean, I just heard Kurt told me about this, because he's friends with this contractor who lives in Conifer, and
Mm-hmm.
he's doing some work for him right now up there. And the guy told him about it, and he came home and told me about it, and I'm like, what the hell? This is total
Yeah.
bullshit. Of course, Kurt didn't want to hear that from me. He wanted me to just say, oh, that's
Accept
terrible.
it.
But of course, I'm like, what the fuck, because I know too much. I'm like, no, they don't have to do that. He doesn't want to know that because he doesn't want to feel like he has to say that to them. Because
Right.
it's a can of worms, man. It's a huge can of worms, because what you would find out, like, is that the whole court system is totally corrupt, and they don't have the right to do a lot of the things they're doing right now. And then you'd have to, like, think about that. You'd actually have to fucking give a shit. You'd have to stop this act of not caring about stuff, which is what people have been doing for a long time, and start caring. And then there'd be so much to care about that you wouldn't have time for your little plans and designs. You'd have to actually spend a lot of your time caring about what the fuck is going on here.
Yeah.
Right. I know I'm cussing.
Novel thing. All right. I love to cuss.
Well, yeah, we don't have a child here.
Get emotional.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's so crazy. It's just such a crazy situation. They'd rather this is, I guess, the whole thing right here. They'd rather let them do whatever the fuck they want than actually care about what they're doing, because if they cared, they would have to do something else, and that's just too scary.
Well, they would have to do something about it, and that's
They would.
where
They'd
it's
have
scary.
to do something. Huh?
I said they would have to do something about it, and that's the scary thing.
Too scary. Yeah, it's fucking terrifying, because it is. I mean, I get it. I have been terrified. Let me tell you, I have been totally terrified, and I have continued to hammer at it.
Oh yeah.
I've continued to hammer at my terror, because I'm like, no, you're not going to win. I'm sorry. I'm not letting you get away with this. You're not going to win. I'm not going to let you steer me away from, I'll just do what I have to do to not stay afraid of this.
Right.
Fuck that. Because then I'll just have to come back here again, I mean, I may still have to come back here again, which I don't want to do. I mean, I listen to Mark say he's going to come back here again, but I'm like, I don't want to come back here again. So I'm going to try to get it all done while I'm here this time. Now that I know, what's going on, I can't just get away with. Yeah, no, there's no way.
You can't get away with sitting idly by and being ignorant of what's going on.
No, I mean, I can't turn it off. I can't just go, oh, well. In the past, I've been able to do that. In the past, I have been able to say, oh, well, and walk away and say, well, I don't want to deal with this. But now I'm past that point. Like, I just can't. Now that I probably, because I really overeducated myself about everything, you know.
Hmm.
And I was watching Kathy O'Brien the other day. Do you know who
Oh,
that
I
is?
know.
She like
Um,
she's one of the MK Ultra victims that was sold into child sex slavery.
hmm,
And she made a documentary. She was rescued by her then this guy who became her husband, who was former CIA, which of course there is no such thing, but whatever. And he was, of course, terminated. And there's a documentary made that she made or something about the whole thing, and it's available on David Icke's channel. And so I was trying to find it. So I couldn't find it, but I found her talking about stuff. And I'm like, she doesn't get to decide she doesn't want to deal with it. Her whole life was ruined by this
oh
bullshit.
yeah. Hmm.
She's a survivor, and she seems like really like a real, like she seems unfazed by it, but of course it could be one of her alters doing the talks. She could still be totally fucked up. But
Yeah.
she seems pretty well. But what she went through, like her whole life, was she was like tortured into being like one of remote viewing. One of her handlers
Right.
was Gerald Ford and Senator Byrd from West Virginia, and she's just been through it, man. She's just been through the ringer.
It
And
took
then
her through the
then she
ringer.
fell in love with that guy, right? Mark Phillips or whatever, who rescued her, but then he was terminated too. So she's had to live through all that. But she's still out there, trying to, and she talks about it's the New World Order. That's what this is all about. And she doesn't get to get a break from it. So why should I?
Why should anyone?
Why should I say fuck it? I don't want to deal with it. I mean, she doesn't get to have a break from it.
No, she doesn't.
So I don't know. I used to think I
Let's
wasn't
take a
gonna deal.
moment and express our gratitude towards her for sticking up for herself.
Yeah, Kathy O'Brien. It's pretty amazing. She's amazing. I mean, that she survived is amazing. And she had a daughter too in there, in that whole thing. Who knows who the father is? She probably doesn't even know who it is, because she was part of this, the upper crust. Oh, I think she grew up in Missouri now that I think about it. So she was at the first Free Your Mind conference with him before he was removed.
Wow. Nice.
Yep, she's hardcore. So for some reason the other day I was tired and I was watching her. You see, I don't usually watch that stuff anymore because I don't watch it. But for some reason I was like, oh, I want to see this.
Right.
So I was watching it. I would have had to have signed up for David Icke's channel in order to see the documentary, or pay $12.99, which I just didn't feel like doing. So I might do that, but I just have a feeling it was just a fleeting desire to know something that I don't really need. I mean, that stuff is like so dark that I just
It's hard
don't
to
need.
watch
It's hard.
some of that stuff
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's hard to stay positive when I know that shit.
It's hard to just imagine that there's people out there that are that dark.
Oh
for
my
me.
God.
You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
and they're running the fucking country, man. These are
I'm
like
like
what
such
the
a
elites are doing.
kind-hearted person that it's hard for me to, you know, accept that that's
Yep, it
something
is
that's
pretty
going on. It
amazing.
does, it is, and I have accepted it, and that's part of what makes me care about exposing some of that stuff or just continuing. I don't know what I'm doing. For some reason I thought to put like the earth and
Oh, you're doing the earth?
cupped in some hands, but I don't know. It's kind of cliche for caring about the earth, I guess, but whatever.
Oh, I really don't know what I'm doing right now. I just did I did a intuitive drawing and then just started coloring it in. But I think it's about water because that's what we've been focusing on at work. Like Andy just did a water workshop and it's really quite interesting what they've discovered about water. I swear, it really is amazing. Like that water is almost like a living creature. Like it's like a living entity. And like, I mean, I have to really watch all of the videos about that they referred to because they said that water, somebody, but let's say there's a crew of people that are going to do build something somewhere and they'll start hacking away at the land or at some rocks or something, and suddenly this water will just appear out of nowhere. It'll just come out of the rocks, but it's not like necessarily connected to a spring until they start banging away at it. And so that kind of, basically it's disproved the common exoteric idea that, there's a limited amount of water. Same as oil, like, that the oil is created by the earth, like the earth's blood.
Right.
And that there is no limited supply of oil, and it's not from dinosaurs either. It's just part of the earth. Same as water. Like that's basically what they're saying.
Well, I don't know how people could believe there's a shortage on water when you have such massive oceans. There's more ocean than there is land on this planet.
Right. Well, I guess, because it's salt water, they don't even think of it as being water.
I know, but we have technology that can desalinate water.
Right.
But it's too expensive probably for them to put in areas that need the water.
No, they just rather kill us off.
Uh-huh.
Just kill us off, then we won't need any water. But yeah, no, I just trying to find this one color. I don't know why I'm not finding it. It's really weird. So yeah, so he did this hydration workshop and he showed us how to hydrate. And I think, and he basically said that most of our problems, most of our pains and aches and stuff like that are due to dehydration. So I'm sort of like on this commitment of trying to get hydrated. He gave us like a 30-day how to hydrate. I'm not even at the point where I can start that. Like I'm just like in the pre stages of just trying to. But it's like because he did a 26-day water fast, but then he's like, well, I want to show them how to hydrate without, or how to eat while hydrating rather than to do a fast. I mean, you have to be like in a certain position, like financially, to be able to do that water fast, like because you literally can't do anything else while you're doing it. You can't, you basically, he basically said you can't even like watch videos, YouTube videos or read. You just simply sit there and drink water. And I'm like, yeah, Ralph, that's not happening. I don't see where I'm going to be able to do that right now.
Right.
So, but I can try
for like
to
a
hydrate.
month. You just have to drink water
for
for like
26
a whole
days.
month.
He did it for,
You didn't eat anything except for
No,
water for 26
nope,
days?
nope.
Crazy.
He just sat there in his house and sipped water, and he didn't read. I mean, that's a lot of discipline. You know, he didn't read anything. He didn't watch TV. He didn't watch YouTubes. He
He
didn't,
just sat there and
he
drank
sat there.
water.
I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, so I wasn't
I'm
checking
sure
it.
he
But
had to do something, right? I mean, like if I just sat there and drank water for 28 days, like my wife would probably leave me.
right. Well, no, but he's not married, so he has the kids. The kids came and he had to see the kids, but you know, he may have not done anything. I don't really know. I don't really know. I mean, he was under the tutelage of this guy, Lauren Lockman, who lives in Costa Rica and only eats lettuce leaves and only drinks
Okay.
water.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, he might have. I mean, this was after he went to Anarchapulco, so he probably, I'm guessing that he ate like a lot of crap while he was down there, and he decided to
He needed to
do this
end.
fast. And then he wanted to, you know, do something radical to share with the rest of us too. Like he wanted to, but there's all these things that he's talking about water, and all these other people with, you know, with these cool experiences like about water that, you know, I've never heard of before. Just like water being a living being. I mean, it
Yeah,
just,
well, it's like it has like memory.
yeah,
Doesn't it have like memory?
yeah, they talked
Like you
about
can
that.
even store. Can't you even like store data in water?
I
I heard
don't
like
know,
that they
but
were
probably.
like storing like information in water,
Like, what do you mean?
like like a hard drive.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably. I have heard that water has memory. I heard it from them, but I haven't done any of my own research about it yet because I'm just, it's overwhelming. But yeah, so I mean, these are the cool things that we could be learning if we weren't in this stupid fucking slave system with these idiots who don't think it's important to know this stuff.
Well, the
You know?
thing is like we could actually be progressing as a human race instead of just being pretty stagnant. I mean, we have some technological progression and stuff, but for the most part, we're stagnant. I mean, cars technology is like 100-year-old technology. It hasn't really changed in 100 years. It just, you know,
Right. I mean,
it's
with
pretty much
where
the
we
same
could
thing
be,
as it was 100 years ago.
right,
It's
with
like we
where
should
we
be
could be.
like populating the like cosmos or some shit, you know, by now. Like,
Or we
I don't
could,
know.
or we could just be like, you know, taking care of the earth. Like if we, you know,
Yeah,
we could just be, we could have learned some amazing things by studying animals, like, you know, in a co-creative way rather than, you know, a destructive way.
for sure.
We could have, who knows the stuff we could have done by now. Right here on Earth, you know, we
Yeah,
could have done some
I feel like
amazing
there's like
things.
an effort to like, I think it's like maybe the elite or whatever, they're afraid of people having that enough freedom to do that kind of stuff because it would
Well,
destroy
because then we'd
their.
find out that, their efforts are stupid and we should be doing these other things, and then they would lose power.
Exactly.
They don't want that,
No.
you know.
Yeah.
But there is so many
Oh, I
amazing
know.
things here, right here on Earth, that we have missed out on
Mhm.
just because, you know, we don't have time to we think we know everything we need to know, and then we just go on with our fake civilization thing that we're in,
Mhm.
which is totally fake.
It's not even civilized. It's
No,
uncivilized.
no, it's incredibly uncivilized. Incredibly uncivilized. I mean, it's incredibly like barbaric how we treat each other in the earth.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just hard to believe.
Yeah, it is hard to believe. I agree.
And just, you know, this crazy shit that's going on. Yeah, I mean, I barely hear about it, but you know, men getting pregnant. It was so funny. I saw a meme. I saw a meme this morning that had a guy standing there with like a big belly, like he was pregnant, and
Oh yeah.
it said, "It's a beer." I'm like, oh yeah, right, exactly. It's a beer gut. It's not that you're pregnant. It's that you drink too much beer, dumbass. That was
Yeah,
so funny.
exactly.
But I
That
mean,
makes sense.
the whole thing about that, I mean, I just don't even, what's going on, these crazy things that are going on in society right now amongst, you know, the this generation or whatever. I don't have any idea what the hell
Uh-huh.
that's going on. It's too much. It's too crazy for my
Right.
yeah, so I'd rather just you know, I am going to kind of get into the water thing, I think, because it's so interesting.
Water
And
is
of
very
course,
important.
they did the sound thing, you know, and they're going to have another chick come on, Eileen McCusick, who does sound healing too. With I think with tuning forks, she uses tuning forks. I don't know that much about that, but so yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yes.
But the idea, you know, that all, I mean, he even explained that high blood pressure is a form of dehydration, which is very interesting because he
What
explained
about
that, huh?
what about high cholesterol?
Probably because the thing is with the high blood pressure is that um, when you don't drink enough water, your blood becomes viscous and it can't flow through your veins to the necessary organs. So your body pushes it harder and that raises your blood pressure. So then they give you these, you know,
Makes sense.
big pharma drugs that are petroleum based and they just cause more problems, but they don't solve
Uh-huh.
your need for the blood to flow through
Right.
your veins. So they just give you these other. I mean, I just heard today that this guy that's really close with Kurt, one of Kurt's closest people in his life, and he's
Right.
totally mainstream and probably jabbed. I would guess he probably is. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this guy myself, but I just kind of stay out of it. I just found out today he has cancer and is going to get chemotherapy. And I'm just like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, really? People still fucking fall for that lie? You know? But I just kept quiet because it's like, well, you know, this is so none of my business.
Right.
Unfortunately. I mean, I think about it like, you know, how Passio would say,
Well, what's the other route then? If you
that
didn't do that.
what would be the other route? I mean, he'd have to he'd have to totally educate himself on diet. He'd have to probably go down to Mexico and get emergency treatment because he's been eating shit his whole life. You
He needs
know,
a detox, right?
he'd have to detox. He'd have to
Get rid of
totally
his,
detox. Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
chemical products in his household.
yep.
You
He'd
have
have to
to
totally change everything. So, you know, it's easier just to go die
completely
of
change
cancer.
your whole diet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I just listened to this and I'm just like, I just didn't say anything. I was just like, okay. Because I mean, Kurt's still eating that diet too. So I mean, I can't really, I just go, oh, well, I think to myself, whatever. This is, you know, I mean, at a certain point, it's like, I do think about what Passio said about when you see somebody uh, who is getting, you know, assaulted by somebody and their natural law rights are being violated, how you're supposed to
Uh,
jump in and help out.
right.
But at the same time, since we have the free will choice to do whatever we want to our bodies, I think this is one of that case. Like there's so much information out there right now that is available to people that if you're
Yeah.
going to choose to be willfully ignorant of it, that's none of my business. That's all. It's
Hmm.
none of my fucking business, and I'm not going to try to help you because you don't want help. You want to die.
Hmm.
Honestly, you'd rather um stick with this mainstream idea, these mainstream ideas, and live your life according to your plans or whatever. This is none of my business. I just
Well, I know,
can't.
like there's a whole like science out there that isn't really accepted by the mainstream. It's like one of the biggest things with cancer is just do this stuff first, like be healthy and detoxify your environment now so you don't even have to deal with it in the future. And, you know, it's like a lot of people don't understand that. And they're like, oh no, my McDonald's isn't giving me cancer, you know, or
Oh, for
whatever, you know,
sure.
my eating toxic crap and having toxic air and whatever, you know, it's like, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, no.
it's like to the point where people like literally buy, like some real health enthusiasts like literally buy, like they have like air purification machines in their house and stuff.
Oh yeah, because there's so much toxicity going on. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think, yeah, like, I'm listening to Andy, right? And I know all of us on the team are all like guilty of a lot of the shit that he's talking about.
Oh
And
yeah.
and we're just doing the best we can with it. You just do the best you can with it, and you try to make these changes. But like, I don't think I even knew about some of this, the half of this stuff. Like, to even realize that just the way we eat is so wrong for our bodies. Like, it's not what our bodies actually want. I mean, some people have talked about this in the past. Based on our teeth, you can tell that we're more likely herbivores than we are carnivores. But
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
or fruitarians, like we're closest to this certain monkey in
Uh-huh.
Borneo, the Borneo monkey,
Uh-huh.
and what they eat. And the thing
Yeah.
is that, if we keep eating the way that we eat, it's just going to make us sicker and sicker. And I have
Uh-huh.
like extreme digestive problems, right?
Uh-huh.
And that probably it's because I'm not eating what I'm supposed to be eating. It's because I'm addicted to this diet that and I have like a flavor addiction,
Well,
probably.
you get addicted to stuff like soda when you're a kid and like Cheetos and you know,
Well, but yeah, but even the health food
processed
stuff is wrong.
food.
Even the health food stuff from the health food store is not correct for our diet. Even
Oh
if
no.
I'm eating healthy
Well,
versions
like
of this stuff,
probably only 10% of the health food store is
is what?
correct for our diet. Like maybe 10% of the health food store is correct for our diet, but the rest isn't.
Right, but I mean, even just eating like the other day I bought, and I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I was at the health food store and I bought Nochi, and it seemed like it was good. Like, it was like cauliflower, beet,
Mm-hmm.
and uh broccoli Nochi. And I get
Right.
it home, and it's got like this. I get it home, right? And I look at the packaging and I'm like, it doesn't say it's organic. I'm like, did you fall for this bullshit, Joanna? And I'm like, yes, I fell for it. And because I just, when I see the Natural Grocers logo, I assume, my mind tells me that it's organic, but it wasn't organic. They totally fooled me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I cooked it up, and it had like this cheese sauce or something that once you added water to it became cheese, but it was like stuck
Mm-hmm.
on the side of the Nochi, like somehow. And it was a product of Italy. So not only was it was also like imported from Italy. I'm like, what the fuck did I buy? And then, because I bought it and I didn't want to waste money, this is so insane. I actually ate it, and it gave me,
Mm-hmm.
of course, heartburn, terrible heartburn. So I was like, this is terrible for me. This is absolutely terrible. It's totally processed. And my body rejected it right away. And I'll never
Mm-hmm.
buy it again. But I mean, it's just like, I just, we just think, like, I just thought, oh, Nochi, cool. No, are you crazy? I mean, that's not how I'm not supposed
Maybe
to
if you
eat that
like,
shit.
even if you like hand make like homemade gnocchis, it's not like still
It's still
what you're
not
supposed
what
to
I should
eat.
be eating. No, no, yeah. Even if it was handmade Nochi, I still shouldn't have been eating it, because that's not,
right?
because my body cannot digest that shit, because it's so complicated. It's like a complicated pasta with a complicated milk dairy thing, and then it's got
Mm-hmm.
this smashed up vegetables in there.
Right.
So I'm just like, oh God, this is terrible, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's amazing. I was like, but it definitely it's taking some kind of long period of time for me to, you know,
Well, I was like 2 years ago, I was like, I'm gonna be vegetarian, and then like it's been 2 years, and I still am not completely off of like meat. It's just like so
oh
hard.
yeah, and forget the
So
opening. The opening is going to have all the food that I love the most at it. And so I'm just like, oh God, like brie and shit,
yeah,
brie and
right.
salami and all the stuff that's terrible
Oh
for you.
yeah, it's like all the worst meat, like the worst meat for you, like sausage is like the best tasting one, of course.
Oh yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, totally. So yeah, I'm like, well, after the show is when I'm gonna. But I was at a place today where I knew they had cupcakes. There was like cupcakes sitting there, and I'm like, I just prayed. I was like, can you please keep me from eating these fucking cupcakes? Because I mean, they're just terrible. Because he basically said the reason women have the paunch on the front of their stomach is because it's where like your body holds toxins there. Like wherever your
Yeah,
body can store the toxins, it stores the toxins in fat cells. And because you just don't let up on putting the toxins in.
like
Like,
sugar
ugh.
is a toxin, right?
I don't know. We didn't get into sugar too much. He just said
Like refined
carbohydrates.
sugar, at least.
He was talking about carbohydrates and the terrible baked goods situation, but he didn't really get it. He didn't say sugar. He talked about caffeine, sadly, but he said, you can have 1 cup of caffeine. And I'm like, praise God. At least I can still have my 1 cup of caffeine.
Yeah, caffeine is not good. I've heard that before.
Yeah, but I'm totally addicted to caffeine, and I would have to go away somewhere. I already tried to get off caffeine, and it was such a terrible experience that I was like, oh no. I'd have to be living. I'd have to do like that 26-day water fast thing and be doing nothing. I'd have to go through the
I can
headache.
do. I'm not. I was addicted to caffeine for a long time, but I can go without it now.
Wow. Yeah,
And
no.
actually now, like if I do have it, like even if I just drink like a green tea, that's almost like too much caffeine.
Wow, that's amazing. Good for you.
Like if I drank if I went and got like a latte, I'd be like totally fucked for like the whole day.
Wow.
Because the caffeine would just, I'd just be like, and then I wouldn't be able to sleep for like that whole night.
Right.
And like, yeah, it's not a good thing.
Well,
That's
it's
weird
interesting
too. Like
because
I would get like really tired for like the first like 2 hours after having caffeine, like a large amount of it. I get like really tired, and then after the tiredness wears off, I'm like wired for like 24 hours.
wow, that's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody's body is totally
sucks.
different. That's the other thing. Everybody's body's different, so you never know. Like I know these people like who drink energy drinks, which I think energy drinks are extreme. They're not being talked about at all, but I think they're like the worst
Hmm.
thing. This is
Yeah,
part of the
they're
agenda.
hardcore.
Like
Yeah.
I know these people who are like bipolar or whatever. They have a psychiatric diagnosis, and
Hmm.
one of them hasn't been drinking the energy drinks, and he has not had a manic episode for like 6 months. And I'm like, I tell him every time I see him, I'm like, you're not drinking those energy drinks, right? And he's like, yep, I haven't had one. And I'm just like, it's so good that you haven't had one. But I mean, whenever he goes to get his blood tested, because he's on these heavy duty psychiatric
Hmm.
medications, nobody ever asks him about the fucking energy drinks he's drinking. You know what I mean? It's incredible
Right.
that this gets passed over
Yeah, they're
as
not like, dude, like, what's your diet like?
no
Do
way.
you?
They never say anything about it.
insane.
It's incredible. It's totally incredible. Yeah, no. Nope, they don't. And who knows? The doctors are probably all drinking them too.
Hmm.
You know, it's amazing. It's like really amazing.
I was hooked on those Red Bulls for a little while.
Oh boy.
Like I used to have a Red Bull every morning
Oh
on my
boy.
way to work. Yeah, that was like a long time ago though.
Yeah, I had a really bad
That was when I was
experience with
living in
Red
New
Bull.
York.
Oh yeah, that would be the place to do it. I
And then,
mean, I was driving from California to Colorado, and it was like I ended up driving from Las Vegas to Colorado in one day without stopping. That was terrible. And I had 2 Red Bulls, and I literally I went insane. I was insane. I was like screaming, and my friend who was with me actually took the keys out of the ignition and wouldn't give them back to me until I calmed down,
right.
because I was so fucked up on 2 Red Bulls. So I'm like, well, I'm never going to drink these again. But
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Right.
I mean, it's probably obvious, don't take stimulants, but I just didn't
Well,
know.
it's just weird because like caffeine, it's like you have to build up a tolerance to it. So I remember like when I was a kid, like when I first started drinking like coffee or like caffeinated sodas, like that shit would like mess me up and I'd be like up for like a long time, or I wouldn't be
Well,
able to
I think
sleep
it
that
kept me from
night
being
or different
depressed.
things. But then I like over the years I built up like a tolerance to it. And so like, I used to drink, coffee. I wasn't like a all day coffee drinker, but I drank like a nice big cup in the morning, and then I would have caffeinated tea like pretty much the rest of the day. And I would sleep fine and I had no issues with it. But it was like I had to like build up my tolerance for that. It took a while to do. And then like now, I don't know, something happened like, and then like I just couldn't handle it as much anymore. So I stopped drinking coffee pretty much altogether about 4 years ago.
Oh, wow. What made you stop drinking it?
I don't know. I just like it was just giving me all this anxiety and stuff. And
Oh,
so I just
anxiety. Yep. Yep.
stopped.
Yeah, no, I just drink tea now. I drink 1 cup of tea in the morning, and that's it. Unless
That's
I
what I
have
do right now.
a
Besides,
situation like I had the other day with had to drive to Pueblo, had 3 hours of sleep. Then I had 2 or 3 cups of coffee just to get through that. And then the next day I was dead. Absolutely dead. Dead. I was dead. Dead
yeah,
as a doornail. Yep. I
I
have to take a break for a moment.
I haven't. Oh, okay.
Do you mind? Oh, go ahead. Say that last
Go
part.
ahead. No, I was just gonna say I have been drinking one green tea in the morning that has caffeine, and it's not too much for me.
Oh yeah. My green tea is fine. Yeah, I gotta take a nature calls break here.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm just gonna
Gotta care about our planet. That's why I'm painting the earth here. So this is our home, and we have to care about our home. Earth is our home. We have to care about our home. Hmm. Oh,
I had to get a snack.
no worries. I had a bowl of beans before this, so.
A bowl of beans.
Hmm.
Nice.
Are beans okay? Are those part of our diet? Probably not.
Oh yeah, beans. I don't know. I mean, it depends. I can't. They're hard for me to digest, but that's me. Hard for me to digest everything. At least they're beans.
I love beans.
Well, that's good. What kind of beans did you have?
Pinto beans.
Oh, really? Do they have anything on them?
Some onion in there and some garlic and just some seasoning, chili powder. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah, it's
probably
a
good.
good thing. It's a good thing I like beans a lot because I think it would be hard to be vegetarian without beans. I guess you'd
Yeah.
just get used to it eventually. I mean, I feel like beans are like a big source of my protein these days.
Yeah, I don't remember. What did I used to eat when I was vegan? I guess I ate mostly. What the heck did I eat? Broccoli. A lot of broccoli.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sweet potatoes. I got sick of sweet potatoes, but I still eat
I've
them.
never really have liked them that much.
And I
For some
forced
reason.
myself. Lately, I found out, like, I've been trying to eat coconut oil because it's really good for your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I was eating sweet potatoes with coconut oil on them instead of butter.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Coconut oil is good. I like coconut oil.
Yeah, I'm actually eating it on toast right now. I didn't
Nice.
know about this. Somebody told me about this coconut oil on toast thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, for my brain, so that my brain can absorb that damn. I mean, I tried to open that stupid Bank of America account again today because I wanted to get my
You mean the
PMA open.
Canvas?
No,
Canvas?
the
Oh.
Bank of America account.
Which one's that?
Well, for the other PMA that I tried to
Oh, okay.
start, he recommended you get. Well, actually, Andy told me to use Bank of America, which I despise Bank of America, but
Uh-huh.
like they just let you open these accounts
Uh-huh.
and they don't question you. And I don't have the guts, honestly, at this point to try to tangle with the credit union
Uh-huh.
over this situation. It's just way too hard. And
Uh-huh.
but even the Bank of America account is so complicated. I don't understand what they're asking me, so I can't fill out their application.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to try and get somebody from work to help me with it.
Hmm.
I was trying to get it opened before the show because I wanted to be able to say I have a PMA, but I am saying I have a PMA, and I'm going to say, I put up a membership page or whatever on my website, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like I don't feel like it's fully happening because I don't have the bank account yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so complicated. And I've spent like all this time trying to figure it out, but I still haven't figured it out. But again, finally, I'm kind of like, whatever. I just wanted to use it for my own PMA. I want my PMA open.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying again, but I didn't. I was like, oh, wait, it's 4:00. I can't do any more because I have to get on here.
Oh yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
sit there and try to figure it out. It's just so stupid. I mean, it's stupid, but
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Oh, wow. I'm not going to worry about it too much, but
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, well, I'm just going to try this again. And I was like, nope, no, you're not. Not today.
Funny how that
I
happens
think they make
sometimes.
it purposely that difficult so that to weed out people.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's not like they obviously don't want people to do certain things because they make it so hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. But I could do another PMA, do a totally different one. I'm just so sick of it though. I wanna it's like if I can't get this one done, I'm not gonna do this do it again.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, we're still studying that stuff. But I've gotten
Yeah.
to the point with it where I think it's just it's kind of an illusion in a way. Like you can just I don't know. It's just an illusion. It's not really whatever they're charging for. It's more of a because you could say, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna I just don't consent. Because if you
Yeah.
have a PMA, you could just say, oh, I have a PMA, but because it's private, they can't really ask you anything about it
Uh-huh.
unless you're doing some nefarious act that they bring you to court over.
Right. Like they deem like, oh, not following this is nefarious because people could get sick because you're
No,
not following it.
nefarious. Yeah, right. Not yeah, they actually talk about that in the East Coast PMA Telegram group. They talk about how this lady who had a daycare center
Uh-huh.
became a PMA, and before she was a PMA, she was very cooperative with the city and everything. This is in
Uh-huh.
Connecticut, and
Right.
then when she became a PMA, she was like, "No, you guys can't come in here anymore." So then they tried to get back at her by saying that she was committing a nefarious act by not making the children wear masks.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, how do you know? You're not in here. You're not inside.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't make them put the masks on before they come in doesn't mean that. So obviously they were using their standards about this stupid scam
Uh-huh.
to
Of course.
claim that
People were being
her
nefarious.
not participating in it was nefarious. But see, that's where it's like, how is this going to work then? I don't see how it's going to work. If they're going to change, make the rules, this actually may not be a solution because
It's not necessarily
I
because
say it's
they
not.
can say that. They can say that if they say that something's bad and you have to do something, then they can complain that if you're not in compliant with that, that you're actually being nefarious, and which isn't good.
Right,
And
unless
that's
you
why
can,
we need to. That's why we need to just get rid of these authorities to begin with, because if there's no authority, then there's no one there to tell you that you have to do these silly things.
yeah, but we're not
Like
going to
it's
get
like,
rid of these authorities. That's the thing. I mean, you and I would like to get rid of the authority, but the majority of people are fine with it the way it is.
right,
So we have to live within the system
convince them.
until the time when the majority of people go along with it. We have to figure out a way to live peacefully within this situation and not be, you know, driven into slavery.
Uh-huh.
I
Well,
mean,
part of
I
that is
agree.
just waking people up. Like, hey, look, we can't let them just like do this. You know, we
Oh,
gotta
waking people
stand
up?
up.
I don't know
Yeah,
about that. I don't know about this waking
not
people up
it's
thing.
not easy to wake people up either.
Yeah, I don't see about that. I don't know. I don't know about this waking people up thing. I mean, they're either going to wake up or they're not going to wake up. That's not really my. I mean, I'm going to put my shit out there, but whether people wake up or not,
That's their
here's
decision.
the
You're
thing.
right.
Like I
You're right. They
I
have
was
to make
gonna
that decision for themselves.
right. I mean, that's their free will. Their free will. They have the free will to not wake up. They have that.
Uh-huh.
They have that free will, and natural law allows them that free will. There will be consequences for that,
Uh-huh.
but like
Oh yeah.
like I was telling Kurt, I was like thinking about telling my family about the show. Like I was thinking about sending them that link,
Uh-huh.
But then I just was like, why, Joanna? Why? And I really wanted to too. I really, really, really wanted to. But then
Mm-hmm.
it was like, why? Do you want to have a
Why does it
fight?
matter? It's just like feed your ego,
You want to just have a
your
big
ego.
fight? It's like, no, I don't want to have a big fight. So don't tell them. I mean, if they come upon it because they sought out my website, which none of them do, none of them seek out
Mm-hmm.
my website, then that's on them. But if I put it out there to them, oh God, all hell is going to break loose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why bother? It's not going to help them to wake up at all. It will not help them to wake up because I'm attacking the very foundation of their. They'll just put it on me. They'll just say she's fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
like they always have done.
Well,
It's
that's
not
what
going to
they do.
help.
That's like the whole tactic of the man too, or like, whatever they're like. They just, like in that insurrection event is a perfect example of it. There's a mob of pissed off people as to what our government was doing. So they go to the Capitol, right? And start causing havoc or whatever. And then they probably had a good cause and they had good reason to do what they did, but then they just get labeled as extremist, a extremist group, and then
What are
people
you
are like,
talking
oh,
about? There was an event. Which one was this? Which event?
this was like over that insurrection at the United States Capitol over a year ago.
Oh, I don't know. Was this in Denver? Sorry.
No.
Oh, you
In
mean it?
Washington,
Oh, you
D.C.
mean you mean in Washington?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Sorry.
like,
Oh yeah.
it's like you could be like a real protester with a real good cause and reason, and if they don't like you, or they'll just call you an extremist group, and then now you got this label on you that you're this extremist group, and people aren't going to want to be part of that.
Right.
Like they all they have to do is use their media strong arm and label something on someone, and then like they're like basically trashed socially for like the rest of their lives because like the media decided that they don't like them, It's like,
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what exactly. So like there's no
Like,
point. Like they're gonna just like this guy. Like this guy would rather commit suicide by taking mustard gas than change his fucking diet. Okay. Well, that's your choice.
or
It's
like,
not
it's
like
like,
the information's not out there. It's right there for you.
it's
You want to do
like,
something different.
I don't like Donald Trump or whatever. And, but I thought it was messed up when Twitter like deplatformed him essentially, you know? It's like, who's what, he's just exercising freedom of speech and he's the president. Why would you deplatform him? That just shows that they're trying to keep stuff secret,
Wow, don't you think that
suppress.
was part of the political theater?
Oh, probably, yeah, definitely. But
I
still,
mean,
it's
I
like,
doubt it was like not. I'm sure because him and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are all buddies. They all live in Washington Heights and they all go to fucking dinner together. They're all
yeah,
just
oh yeah,
buddies.
they are. I'm just saying, like, obviously, yeah, no, I mean, I get your what you're saying about the political aspect of it, but it's like, you know, that's probably a bad example. A better example would be like, you know, Grand Theft Auto or Grand Theft World getting deplatformed. That's a better example,
Did they?
because they're
They
actually
didn't,
trying
did they?
to. Yeah, they did. Like,
What?
they're in season 5,
Oh, really?
and they had to reboot everything. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't even know about that. Sorry.
yeah. They like. I mean, they still do YouTube stuff, but they stream on Twitch now because they can't. They get censored too much on YouTube if they stream there, and they're like, they put clips on YouTube they use basically YouTube as advertising to get people over to Twitch to watch their show, but it's not. They were deplatformed, so they're
No,
like,
I did not know that, but that's
these
just made
people
up.
who are working on clips and stuff are like, you know, polling stuff. Oh, like, oh, I can't use this one because it's too spicy for YouTube, kind of thing.
Right. No. Yep, that makes sense.
Like, if we put this one on YouTube, we'll get in trouble. So let's not use that one. Let's do a different one.
Yep. I mean, but that's. I remember it was so funny. I was talking to my cousin one time about all this. Well, actually, I was talking to her about family matters or whatever. And
Hmm.
I get to like towards the end of the conversation, and my phone is about to die. And so she starts bringing up this COVID bullshit, right? And I'm just
Hmm.
like, I just said, I don't think this is a good idea going down this road right now. And so
Hmm.
she just ignored me, of course, and went on. And I just finally just said something like, blah, blah, blah. Viruses don't exist. This is totally wrong. I should have done the Socratic questioning, but I didn't because I was tired.
Hmm.
And
Right.
he's like, Joanna, where do you get your information? And I'm like, oh, you really want to know? I'll tell you where. Grand Theft World, Mark Passio, Andy Kaufman, blah, blah. And then my phone just died. I was like, oh, good. That's good. Thank God. Putting
That's
into
great.
this right now. But yeah, that's my family. Like they're just totally, they bought it all hook, line, and sinker. And they're just there doing their thing. And I'm just like, yeah, I'd be better off if I don't try to wake them up. It's not going to, I've never been like someone anybody took seriously there in that family. And it's just like what you're saying. Like they're just, they'll just chalk it up to Joanna, the crazy one or whatever.
Hmm.
So good luck.
Right.
So I'm just like, oh, well, see you later. Go die, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it's depressing, but it's like,
Yeah, I had a conversation like when I was on vacation. It was like, oh, like people were talking about when they had the alleged COVID, whatever, you know,
Uh-huh.
and so I was like, I shared my story about when I had the alleged whatever, you know,
Uh-huh.
and they were like, and they're like, basically their question was for me was, oh, was that for you since you didn't have the shot? I was just like, oh, it's fine. It was like I didn't notice a difference between me and my wife who has had this shot. Like I feel like our cases were about exactly the same strength, and it wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like, because they were curious, like, oh, like how did you handle that since you didn't have the thing, you know, the shot? And I was like, I was fine. They were expecting like, oh, I had it way worse or whatever, you know, because
Right.
that's
No,
what
you were
the
fine.
mainstream says is like, that's how
Well,
they
good thing you
are
had the
getting
shot.
some people. That's how a lot of people got convinced and coerced into getting the shot. Was like, oh, if I get it, then it won't be as bad. And, you know, the first they scare you with something for like a year, and then they're like, oh, if you do this, it won't be as bad, but you can still get it. Just retarded, you know. So obviously the shot is doing something else, because if you can still get the ailment that it's supposed to prevent, then it's not working for that.
Right, exactly. Well, yeah, it's working to keep you from having children and maybe from living a long life. But um, yeah, I mean, actually, they were talking about something even more sinister the other day, where we were talking about um, polio. Apparently, was actually, this is so fucked up. Polio was, they were using this pesticide that had arsenic in it, and so that's what polio was the effects of this pesticide that caused the polio. It wasn't a
Right.
virus. It was
Mm-hmm.
reaction to a poison, which is pretty much what they're doing right now, you know.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I started thinking, really, this is what all the diseases are, is them trying to cover up like some industry thing that they're doing that they want to do. So they just
Yeah.
like call it this disease so that they can keep doing what they're doing in the industry.
Because they think that's progress.
Right. They think it's progress to use this like poison, and
Oh,
then they just blame it on, they call it this virus outbreak, and then they come up
so
with the vaccine.
I was gonna put this hands, like carrying hands holding the earth underneath it,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna do that anymore because I think that's too cliche. So I'm thinking about just putting a heart around the earth for care
Okay.
for the
Are
earth.
you gonna
What do
take
you
this?
think?
Are you gonna like bring this to the show tomorrow, or is this for next year?
I don't. I didn't. I mean,
You already
not
have care.
necessarily. Not necessarily, no. But I mean, I might use it next year if there's another show, you know, or
Yeah.
in the future. This is all part of the same body of work, I guess. If that's what you're asking, yes,
Yeah.
it is part of the same body of work.
I don't know
So,
what I've done here. I mean, I think it's about care, but it seems to be about water. Let's see if I can
well, water,
see. This is what
I
I've
think
done.
water responds to care, you know. Like I heard that, like if you give someone a glass of water, like you should bless it by like saying like something even to yourself in your head, like, may this glass of water bring health and sustenance to the person I'm giving it to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. Like
Because of
the,
the intent. Like the water remembers your intent, you
oh, like
know.
the Dr. Emoto thing with the with the, that the water
Yeah.
gets restructured by the
Yeah,
positive.
like if you like cuss at water and then freeze it, it has like really irregular ice crystals. Whereas if you're like loving towards the water, then it has like forms into like really beautiful like snowflake crystals. when it's frozen. He did. I think he's the guy that did the rice experiment that I brought up before too, where you have like, and it has water too. This part of it, you have rice in water, 3 cups, and this is relevant to the care principle because, there's one that is ignored, and there's one that is praised, and then there's one that's, cussed out and aggressed upon. And so the one that is ignored is actually the worst. Like it has like the nastiest mold and stuff on it. The one that is praised turned into like a really yummy rice wine. The one that was cursed at and shunned was pretty nasty, but it still wasn't as nasty as the one that was ignored. And so, like, I think when you have care, you don't ignore something, like if you ignore your kids, they're going to have problems. But if you care about your kids, they won't have problems. Even if you're a horrible parent and all you do is scream at your kid, that kid's probably actually has less problems than the one that's completely ignored.
Yeah, maybe so. So what do you think about, have we discussed the generative principle?
Yeah, we have been. And that's just basically the fact that, you care about things, it lifts you off your butt. So you do something about it because you're taking action because you care. And so when you take action, you generate things within reality. Like, just like raising a kid, for instance. Like before I had kids, I used to sleep in till like, noon or 1 o'clock on the weekends. Now that I have kids, I'm up. Like sleeping in to me is like getting up at like 8:30 or 9. And that used to be like, whoa, that's early. That's like when I have to get up, that's only an hour after I have to get up to go to work or whatever. That's too early. That's like now it's like I have kids and they're up early and I care about them. And so I have to, that is a motivating factor. I have to get up and get them breakfast and, because I care about them. So I get them breakfast and if they're running towards like a cliff, I'm going to say, stop, because I care about them.
Right.
So it's like care. It's almost
in
like
life, the generative principle is like when the seed pops out of the earth. In
right.
The rest of life, when the generative principle is demonstrated when a seed pops out as a little plant.
For sure.
In natural
law.
Like
the earth, in like nature cares in a sense because it like the sun comes out every day. It never goes on break. The sun cares enough to always shine, and that helps us plants care enough to grow, as you say it, like popping out of the seed is its journey, its path of caring to exist, to help filtrate our air, to help, if it's an edible plant, to help creatures that need food.
Right. And the thing is, I think that nature does care. It's not just in a sense, it does actually care about us. I mean, we do. If we follow natural law, we will get what we need. It's guaranteed. It's almost guaranteeable.
It is, because if you're following it, then you care. And then if you you can actually help nature by caring too, you know, by like collecting seeds and then like spreading them around so that they have a higher chance of growing into more plants.
But I mean that what I mean by that is that nature does care, like it provides abundantly for its creatures. And if you're out there, like if I'm out there, like I've been out there and in nature and maybe gotten caught in some storm or whatever, and if I ask for help from nature, I receive the help. Like I'll suddenly come across like a big tree that I can stand
Right.
under until, I mean, it just provides, you know, nature provides.
It does.
You're provide I mean, so these inalienable rights that I worked on, like, you know, for the show, um they are, nature will provide me with what I need.
Yeah,
It is
I
true.
agree.
Whereas, like, you know, um the system does not care.
No.
But you know, you can still gain, you can still be okay in the system by depending on nature within the system or upon like spiritual, you know, and you can get help regardless of whether you're in the system or not,
Right.
because
Yes.
they like to think that the system is outside of natural law, but it isn't. It is not outside. There's nothing outside of natural law. And
No.
so, you know, if you try to be a good person and try to um you know, take care of your brother and sisters and try to be good to your fellow man and animals and the earth, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter that you live in the system, you'll still be taken care of
Yeah.
because nature does care. I mean, I know
It does.
Mark has said, like, you know, if you don't watch your kid, nature's not going to stop your kid from falling off the cliff. That is true. But
Right.
that I don't, but I've also experienced where nature does seem to care, you know, and how, like, if you look at, you never see an animal like raising their kids the way we raise our kids. You know,
Uh-huh.
you don't see animals like really raise their kids to survive. They don't like stick them in front of a TV.
No. They're like, here, this is how you forage for food. You know, this is where you go. That I've gone for food in the past.
I mean, have you ever seen that video of
Or
that grizzly bear with the little grizzly bear baby that keeps sliding down the mountain?
uh I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, the grizzly bear like doesn't go down to try to help him. She stays near him, but she has to let him like figure it out because
Oh
she's not
yeah,
always
like
going to
it
be there.
I saw something like that with like it was like a polar bear though, and it's like trying to climb out of the ocean onto like this iceberg, and the mom's like not helping it. It's just like, you're big enough now. You got to do it on your own. Like maybe when it's like a tiny, tiny cub, it might grab it and help it out. But now it's like, nah. And it was patient too. It just sat there for like a long time and just let the cub keep falling into the water over and over again until it finally got out, you know?
Right.
And that's why like the Montessori education approach is good, because their whole thing is like, if the child is capable of doing it on their own, then you shouldn't do it for them. And like, and part of that too is it's not forced. You know, kids can they kind of get to choose when they start learning stuff, which I think is good, you know, for kids to have that choice. You know, like, oh, I'm gonna play, you know, for a long time. I don't know. There's a lot of things that need to be changed about our world, but education is certainly one of them. I think a
Well, I
big
mean, our
one.
education system has been co-opted by the elite so that we would become stupid idiots. You know.
Well, they just want to train people to work for their evil corporations. And instead of like training people to be, independent people, they're training them to be good employees at the corporations.
Right.
Which is, if you really want to learn more about that, you can definitely check out Richard Grove's material. He has a lot of stuff about that, and there's a lot
also
other.
John Taylor Gatto.
John Taylor Gatto, which is where Richard got pretty much all of his information from, and there's some other people out there that are heavily talking about that subject. And yeah, it's wild that that's even a thing too.
Oh my God. I know. I feel like I'm in my bubble right now. So I when I'm in my bubble, I actually sometimes think it doesn't really exist. But then I go out there, like I was at the store today, and there was people coming in with masks on, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm in my bubble too much. I'm in my bubble to the point where I just don't even believe. I'm not ready. I'm not. I'm surprised when I see this shit.
Mm-hmm. You're like not prepared for it. You're like, whoa,
totally
wait a minute, what's going on?
Yeah,
this
like what the
thing?
hell? Don't you guys get it yet? I mean, like literally, I saw like fucking, old people, but I saw some young people going. I was like, what the hell? Are you serious? Like, really? But yep. Yeah, so I get shocked when I go out there because I'm in my bubble. My bubble of everything's fine now. But it's not fine. So,
Oh, believe me,
we're just kind of on vacation right now. But don't worry.
I know all too well.
Autumn's coming. What?
The evil autumn.
The evil autumn will be here soon.
Where they do their evilness.
Huh?
It's just such an evil thing. It gets all cold and people get sick. Every year,
I got sick.
people get
I got
sick.
my cold in the summertime, but God knows, or spring or whatever.
Right.
But they're gonna, whatever they're gonna do, they'll probably do it in autumn.
Right.
Although, I mean, I think they did something recently. Like if you work for the state, you'd have to be wearing your diaper now. Because the state is on some kind of orange alert. What?
Yeah. There's like an orange alert or something. I don't know. I don't follow it, but
yeah, that's totally insane. So crazy.
Yeah. Crazy retarded. Oh wait, you're not supposed to say that word anymore.
Oh yeah, retarded. No, you're not supposed to use that word.
That's
do you remember that brings up
that's a racial slur nowadays. I forgot.
Well, yeah. Do you remember when this was a long time ago? Somebody at CU Denver was talking about black holes, and it was taken as a racial slur.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Like black holes, wow, that's racism. No, actually, it's a thing in space. You haven't heard of those?
Oh my God, it was so ridiculous.
Outer space. In fact, there's one theory that every single atom has a black hole in the nucleus. And
oh, really?
That's what projects reality is. We go, it's a vibrating oscillation between in and out, into the non-physical reality and back out to the physical reality. And it's kind of like a TV set works with the pixels. The pixels light up, there's thousands of pixels, And depending on what color the pixels are lit up as, it shows you the image on the screen. And but the atom is like a 3-dimensional pixel where it's constantly, every single atom's constantly going in and out, in and out, in and out, and slightly changing, and the result is we see physical objects in our reality.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, but like they think this theory says that all these atoms have little black holes, and that's the event horizon where things are, like when it goes into, like in it, it's like a toroidal field. It's always like cycling in and out, in and out. And when you're on the out, that's like, it's happened so fast you can't see it with the naked eye. But it's like all the information is going into the field and is not seen maybe. And then when it comes back out, it's seen again. And
Interesting.
it like oscillates, and that's how the fabric of reality works. It's almost like if you move your arm isn't really moving. It's just different atoms are turning on and turning off as your arm moves. It's almost like space isn't in motion. The only thing that's in motion is the change in the pixelation of space.
Yeah, right, whatever. This is one of those.
I don't know if that's true.
This is one of those
that's just kind of like a way of explaining it, maybe. But.
Well, this is one of those things. It's like it's all an illusion. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows?
It could be all an illusion, but I still have to behave myself.
Yeah.
That doesn't give me an excuse to act however I want.
No. Because that's part of the feedback when it goes in to the event horizon and disappears for a millisecond. It's given information to the God mind, whatever you want to call it, the morphogenic field or whatever, and so if you're acting in a wrong way, it's getting that information. It's like Santa. It can see everything. It sees when you're naughty, and it knows when you're nice. Santa, he knows when you are naughty. He knows when you are nice. Well, that's actually just a metaphor for the universe. Is constantly getting feedback. You can't hide anything in the from the universal mind. It's always watching. It's always there, oscillating. And that's why, when you're living in accordance with natural law, it notices. And so when you stop doing that, it notices too, and it tells you. You get feedback, usually quite instantly. I know you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean, yes. And so that's why I prefer to live by natural law now, because the feedback is painful, and I don't like pain.
It's kind of like David Icke says too. He's like, we are the universe. We are, infinite awareness, every one of us. We're just like fractals. So all of our awareness is feeding back into the great computer, or the great God mind, whatever you want to call it. You know, if you go back to the Hermetic principle of mentalism, it's like everything feeds back into that mental construct that we call the universe. And maybe that is actually another way of explaining what I was talking about. When the atom, you know, when it goes through the event horizon and disappears, it's going into the mental plane. And then when it's manifest in reality and you see it like a solid thing, like a paintbrush, which is millions of little atoms, that is, you know, that is the effect of the hidden mental plane that it goes into, oscillates in and out of, which is the plane. The mental plane is the plane of causation, and then the physical plane is the plane of effects. Which I actually do have a painting about that in the show coming up. That's the last one I did. I painted, you know, this like person, like this head with the brain inside, and inside of it says the plane of causation, and then outside it says the plane of effects. And, you know, because if you think about it in your mind, you have to think, like I just had to think about all that stuff I said. All that stuff I said was in my mind before I said it. So it started in the mental plane and then came out to the physical plane when my lips spoke it, which was just the effect of my thoughts coming, articulating out. Which I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it probably became dual when it came out.
Well, and yeah, it's like that's the singularity. When the atom goes into the black hole alleged that's inside of every atom, that's like it's going into the singularity, the mind, and then when it comes back out, it's separated back into like a paintbrush or whatever compound that atom is supporting, whether it's, you know, a rock or a air molecule or a, you know. So we're all deeply connected to the unseen, you know, mental plane. We just don't, you know, most of humanity though, they don't get that. They don't get that like it comes from the mind first, then our whole reality is just a effect of the mind, the mental stuff. And largely humanity is trapped in the plane of effects, and they don't even understand the concept of the mental plane. You know, it's like before you have a sandwich, you have to think about making the sandwich or buying the sandwich or whatever means your mind decides to use to get to that sandwich. It has that thought first. You know, you don't just, I mean, I guess the only time you magically just have a sandwich in front of you to eat is when someone else makes a sandwich for you. But they had to have that notion in their mind before they could make the sandwich. You know, it wasn't like they just all of a sudden there's just sandwiches. Someone had to have the mental thought to make these sandwiches.
That's pretty funny.
You know, and even like you say, oh, like, well, nature and rocks, no one thought that up. Well, actually they did. Someone did. The big God mind thought those up. You know? So actually our physical reality is actually a mental plane as well. It's just a different, we're inside that mental plane. We are the effects, some of the effects of that mental plane, just like rocks and trees and gophers and mice and mosquitoes and bats. They're all effects of that God mind, if that's what you want to call it, or that universal mind, that mental plane that holds all of space time together. And that thing probably goes multiple layers deep too. You know, where there's multiple layers that are supporting our reality that have to be there that we don't even know about. We don't even have access to these layers except for maybe in a trance state or in like some sort of like an out of body experience, or if you're really good at lucid dreaming, you might be able to temporarily access some of these planes of reality. You know, because when you're, you know, astral projecting or lucid, you can explore certain things. And learn certain things, like the shaman who will go into the trance states and find healing plants for, you know, someone may have an ailment in their tribe and they'll go into these medicine men, you know, these ancient shaman and medicine men will go into these states and then they'll ask the forest, you know, spirits, you know, how can I help this person? And then they'll be taken directly to the plant that can help this person within the dream non-physical reality. Which is pretty cool, I think.
Yes, it's amazing.
And you don't even have to be a shaman necessarily to do that. You just have to know how to get into those states of, you know, the brainwave states that can allow you to have remote access, which is that lady you were talking about, which was she was in a program where they were trying to figure this stuff out. You know, that's what remote viewing is, getting into one of those states to where you can go view things remotely, you know. You know, they talk about is it like Robert Monroe, and they were like researching out of body stuff. They were using these desensitization tubs where
yeah.
they take like salt water so you can like float in it and like all this stuff, close it off so no light comes in, and you know, cut out any sound that might be coming in, and then like you can just go into these like crazy like experiences where you go into non-physical reality and you can explore stuff. And they even like went as far as to like they were like measuring like the brain wave activity while this was happening, and they came up with like tapes like where they could put headphones on in these desensory tanks and listen to these tapes, and the tape would put them into these different trance states where they could go out of body and different stuff. What they call those binary beats, I think is what they call that.
Oh,
I think you can just like order some of these too online and stuff. Or you could probably get them like if you go to the Robert Monroe Institute website or whatever. Like there's even binary beats that'll make you like high, that'll give you the same effect as if you like took some drug, you know. Like they may even have one for like LSD like trips, like where all you have to do is listen to this beat in your headphones, high fidelity headphones for like, you know, 10 minutes and you'll feel like you're tripping LSD.
I can do that to myself.
You know what? I can too, through deep breathing, like the Wim Hof kind of stuff method, the whole like yoga, deep breathing. You can like lay on the floor and you basically hypoventilate for like an hour straight. You'll feel like you're tripping when you're done with that.
I can just be tripping. I can do it myself.
Yeah.
I can just make myself trip anytime, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It's
yeah. And some people can do that. And
that's
actually,
why I wasn't a big fan.
You can teach yourself how to do that too.
Yeah, I mean, I just wasn't a big fan of psychedelics because of that, because I'm too sensitive for it.
Right.
It freaked me out too much because I could just do it myself.
Right. You didn't need the psychedelic. It just was a natural ability you could do.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried them once and it was a couple times actually, but it was too much for my little.
Well, I can handle them really well, but I have like really, you know, part of it is just my understanding of the mind and how you can, I don't know. Like I had like a lot of friends that when I used to do those, it got like all tripped out and freaked out on that stuff, and like would have to like go like lay in the corner or something, curl up in a blanket, you know, and just wait for the stuff to go away. Like I could always like transmute that into like something positive, you know, like if I felt myself going someplace dark, I could always like mentally turn that around and bring it into someplace not dark.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a minute.
I think it has to do with your upbringing too. Like, I mean, if you had good parents.
Could be, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just.
Well, you didn't have like the core fear. You didn't have core fear when you were a child, like traumatic core fear. You had some like, you know, unpleasant shit with the bullying and stuff, but you didn't have core fear coming from the parental
from the family.
units.
Yeah.
So.
Which is good. I got lucky.
Yes, you have
that
path. It's a good path.
I'm trying to recreate that for my kids, but I don't know.
Well, I'm sure you are.
Sometimes I'm a little bit I can get angry sometimes and blow up, and that's not healthy.
Oh, that'll scare the shit out of them.
You know.
Yep, that'll scare them.
Yeah. But usually when that happens, I'm like mindful enough to like realize that it happened, and maybe it's, you know, it's already too late in a sense because the trauma's already been dealt out, but at least I can, like, a lot of times I can at least have the mindfulness to, like, once everything's calmed down, go and apologize and be like, hey, you know, sorry, I was out of line there, you know, but here's partly your side of it that helped cause my out of lineness, you know, like, I'm trying to tell you something to help protect you, and you're ignoring me, and then I get mad, you know. So do you understand? You know, I'm sorry I got mad. I shouldn't have got mad like that, but you know, I'm just trying to help you, and I want you to be safe. And so I get emotional when I'm not being heard, and I'm trying to help with safety. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Did you
So
use
there we
source
go.
material for that earth, or did you just do that on your own?
No, I had a photo I was looking at. Yeah, no, I cheated. I looked at some
No, I'm just curious because it's like so
reference.
accurate.
Now it's probably people would be like, "Oh, that's right, that's oh man, that isn't freaking England supposed to be here or something?" And like, "Oh, there's an island here." Like, "Oh, you fucked it all up." Like one time I was like, I had to draw Earth in this like whiteboard video, and I was just like, I was using reference, but I was just trying to do it like kind of quick and stuff. So like, apparently I completely forgot to draw the whole island of like England and like Ireland, and like the client got all like bent out of shape, like, "We have clients in England, you can't leave England out of this." Like, and I was like, "Oh, I just draw it in there, it's not that big of a deal, sorry."
That's pretty funny.
Now, I purposely chose this face of the earth because I feel like a lot of times it's ignored. People always want to see the United States side of the earth. Maybe that's just because I live in America, so it's more popularized to look at that region.
Right. And this is Africa.
It's like mostly Africa, and you know, you get Europe and stuff up here, India, China and stuff. I probably need to like put Japan or something in over here, maybe not. That's probably too far around, actually, honestly.
Whew. Oh my God.
But like a lot of the stuff over here kind of got lost in the image I was looking at because it's like it was like the night side of the earth on the reference photo.
Right.
I still need to go back, and once the blue and stuff dries, I need to go back in and add some more clouds and stuff. But then like, yeah, I put this heart around it. I think that, I don't know, I just like that heart. You know,
Yep.
you care about the earth. I was going to do a different thing for care and the generative principle. Maybe I still need to do one. Just like, part of my problem with some of this art I'm trying to do, it's like hard to like articulate what I'm trying to say without using words, with only purely imagery.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's why I don't think I even tried. Well, let me just think about the imagery. Yeah, some of the imagery, but I wanted to stay away from that. But then when I got into the paintings, I had to think about it because there was no way.
I mean, this is definitely, this imagery shows to care about the earth, but it's not really showing like how care motivates, which is what I wanted to do. But I can do another painting that does that. Or maybe there's something I can still do to this to make it. I just had an idea for what I could do. Is I could just have like a fire, and then it's like a fire, and it's burning someone's butt, and so the fire is actually is care, and then the person being burnt is being motivated by the care flame.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay.
But then I almost need to still write the word care within the fire so people know that that's what the fire is representing. So still, I'm not getting away from words.
No, I think it'd be to me, the only way to express care, I think, would be like watering plants or something.
Yeah, so I was gonna do that too. I was gonna have someone just like watering plants.
Showing care, like you, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just,
And then
uh,
that's also showing the generative, because you care enough to water the plants so they generate food for you or whatever
right.
your goal is for that plant. I'm gonna have to do another painting. Well, I actually already have that kind of in that our drawing nature in our little intro animation that I made. Is a
Right.
hand caressing the flower, like it cares about the flower. It's not picking
Right.
the flower, it's just kind of caressing it and like feeling it. So I guess that's why I was using the hands. Like I was going to do the hands holding the earth because it's showing that there's action. You know, someone's holding it because they care about it. And for some reason, I didn't like that. Maybe I just didn't want to draw hands. But
Well, I don't know. This is what I did, and I think it probably has to do with care, but it was all done
nice.
intuitively.
I like that. I like it.
So I think she cares about the water, and the water cares about her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just into water right now, probably because of this. That workshop was really powerful,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just interested in this idea about water being a living entity.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna do some more research about. I mean, I have plenty. I have all this research material, and I'm not really listening to it, but I could listen to it
Mm-hmm.
anytime, and I think I'm gonna start listening to it probably.
I suppose if I wanted to, I could still put hands holding the heart and the earth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's
I
probably
think
you
I'm
could
just
make a
gonna do a
diptych.
weird.
You
I
could,
think
you
I'm
know what
just
you
gonna
could
do a
do?
weird.
You could just do a diptych of the same size canvas with 3 different points of view on how to care, and then I think people would get it.
Right. Or I could
Like a
even do. I
triptych.
could put like a. I could do another painting where I paint the earth again and then put like a bunch of like make it just look all like nasty and like
Oh yeah,
uncared for or something, like
right. Where it's
neglected.
cracking.
Right.
Yep.
Or I could just do that. I could just keep going with this one and make it finish, figure out what I'm going to do in the background and then call it good. And then do another one where I have just someone caring for something like a, like a mother, could even be like a mother caring for a child, or like you said, someone watering a plant. Or like I had the idea of just like the farmer having to get up in the early in the morning when the rooster crowing, like you just show someone getting out of bed and like maybe there's a rooster outside the window and then there's some word bubbles above their head that says, you know, I get up because I care or something like that.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
think that I think there's something to like there being visual information and like text or like verbal information. I think that like it's like when you when you have them both together, it's like more powerful than if you just have one or the other in some ways. You know what I mean? Like if you have like, that's why like theater and TV and movies are so popular, because you have imagery and you have audio. You know, you have audio visual, and so they support each other in this weird way.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
And so I shouldn't be so like biased against having words and letters and stuff on my artwork. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
there's a lot of pieces I put in the show where I have like a lot of words written on the art, and it's like I think that that's important to explain some of the stuff, you know.
Well, that's why I put the whole book next to it, because I was like, this isn't going to make sense unless you understand what this is, because I'm like, this is actually quite complicated. Like it's a
Right.
sigil. See, nobody knows what a sigil is,
Mm-hmm.
and these are rights, but the subject matter has nothing to do with it. It's just a ridiculous sculpture of some made up thing. So
Uh-huh.
I had to write it all out, and
Yeah.
I had to, because it was like, this, no one's going to understand this, especially where people are at now, because they're so dumb. I mean, I hate to be
Mm-hmm.
so mean, but people are just dumb. And if you don't explain stuff to them, they're going to use their own points of reference to inform what they're seeing. And then they're not going to understand what the fuck it is.
They're going to interpret it incorrectly because they're basically coming up with their own interpretation of it.
Yeah,
versus
and I didn't want that.
what it's
I
really
don't want.
supposed to represent.
I mean, this is the truth show. So the thing is if I mean, in a way, it's like you're going to have to learn something new if you're going to know about the truth these days, because we wouldn't be in the situation we're in if people knew about the truth.
Right.
If people knew the truth, we wouldn't be in the situation. So you're going to have to really do a little work. It's not like it's not going to be that obvious to you, because if it was obvious, we wouldn't be in slavery.
And the truth is, it's self-imposed to a large degree.
Oh yeah,
and
totally. It's so
this is material we're going to still be getting into, and through the arc of what we're solely talking about here and drawing nature in, is we're going to be getting into this much more in depth in later episodes, because that's where this conversation is going towards. Is we're going to talk about like the pillars of enlightenment, which is having self-mastery, so you can if you don't have self-mastery, you don't even have self-ownership. You're following someone else's script, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I learned something huge when I was doing that sigil. See, this is the thing. I was working with this material. We've been working with this material for months and months. Mm-hmm. And so I had a huge experience with the self-ownership sigil that I did, because I realized that that you can't really own property until you fully embody your own property, which is your body and your mind. Until you fully own that, you cannot fully own property.
No.
Because your first property is your body and your mind.
Yes.
It was huge. But I'm sure that came from me staring at that sigil that I made of those words. You know what I mean? It like came into my consciousness, because I was like, because I've been staring at that symbolism for 6 months,
Yeah.
And that was a huge realization, because most people, myself included, for many years have just been so distracted from being in their body that, I mean, I'm sure it's part of the agenda to steal.
It's like you're trapped in the plane of effects, and you're not going into that mental plane and seeing that, oh, I own my thoughts and I own myself, my mental plane. So now I can have ownership in the physical plane as well, because you have mindfulness of like when you're thoughts go into negative places and you need to bring yourself back into like, harmony, like that whole piece I was working on for like a lot of weeks where it has like the sacred geometry and like the right side and the left side. And I have like the schisms and the quadriviums and stuff in it. That is like, that piece is, I called it Get Centered, because it's talking about centering yourself in love and light. And like all the other stuff on the outside is like the schism. And in order to find the truths and center yourself, you have to use the trivium and the quadrivium as the processing aspect of centering, out of some of those schisms. So you'll get to see that.
Yeah,
Final
yeah. You do have to.
product
I
of
think
that.
you would have to actually explain this stuff to people because, yeah, people don't know. They don't know. They're nascent or ignorant at this point.
Well, like it's funny because I was framing some of those pieces, and I noticed something when I was framing one of them that I had to like add to or whatever. And so I was bringing it back to my house because I was doing all the framing at my mom's house just because I have all the tools to do it here at my house. It's just not, I don't have the space and the setup to do it or whatever. And so, my daughter had a friend over and her mom has like this, like, she's like a wellness coach or something. And like, she saw that piece because I was carrying it. And she's like, oh my God, that is awesome. And she's like, this is like what I do for people in my practice, is like I show people how to like center themselves mentally, And so I thought that was kind of interesting in her wellness flat, because she totally got it. She was like, oh wow, this is like the mind and like how, you make connections, or if you've had trauma, you start, bringing that back into something positive so you can balance that mind again and have sanity instead of being out of balance and trapped in anxiety or fear. So I thought that was kind of cool that she understood that.
That is pretty amazing. I know it was pretty amazing because I shared that painting of self-ownership with this healer that I'm working with right now. I think it was very weird what happened with that painting because I painted the painting. I didn't really understand it when I painted it. And then I took it to her, and that's basically what she's helping me with right now is embodiment. And it didn't all come together for me until later, what the whole thing was about. It was like my subconscious gave me the images, and then I had to grow into the image, to understand what it meant. It was very trippy.
Right.
But so I was just like, wow, this is cool. Like, this is very cool. Like, I think it's very powerful to interact with these images.
For sure.
Or to interact with these ideas like this closely. I mean, this is exactly what Edgar Cayce talks about when he created the I can't remember his little group of people he created, and he created a black and white tarot deck, and he encouraged people to color in their own tarot deck because he said that they would just like basically draw nature in. They would basically solidify the symbolism in their subconscious by coloring in the images. And
for sure.
I kind of felt like I feel like this whole time, like I have really grown exponentially as a result of dealing with this material of these inalienable rights for this period of time. Like, it's kind of made me grow. It's forced me to grow.
Well, even the work I've been doing is done the same thing to me, because kind of doing similar stuff where I'm like going through all this natural law material and I'm making paintings to represent the concepts that we're going over. And it takes a lot of thought to like come up with some of this stuff. And like, not only do I have to understand the concept fully to articulate it back on in a painting, but I also have to like, you know, actually paint it. And then as I'm painting, I'm thinking about it and the nuanced different things about that concept. And I don't know, it's pretty cool. And just this whole salon we're doing is, I've grown so much from that, because we're taking something that was discussed for like maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, and we're talking about it for like 3 hours. And it's like, we're really like, it's almost like a natural law study group and art creation group. And like, it's helping me understand, have a deeper understanding of some of the stuff that I kind of understood before, but now I'm like really solidifying that understanding. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, totally. Yep. Yeah, I mean, and I feel like this is again another thing that they have tried to hide from us, which is that the power of creating art is not about the product of the artwork. It's about the creation process, because of what it does to you spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally, by it being helping you to embed ideas into your subconscious, so that you're using the 85% of your mind, not them.
Yeah. That's pretty.
Yeah, they don't
Pretty
want
cool.
us to know this stuff. They want to make being an artist the most unattractive thing possible, because it is so powerful. And I know this because there's some artists that you and I both know who refuse to do their work. But they're big in the freedom movement, talking away.
Yeah.
They won't do art.
Oh, I was really disappointed when I found out from Jeff that Richard didn't do a piece for the show that he said he was going to, and he didn't. I was really sad.
Yep.
Because I was actually kind of excited to see what he could do and what he was going to come up with, you know. And
well, it is. I mean, I think it takes a lot of courage to do art, you know.
Yeah, and it was just, I know he's busy, he's got a ton on his plate and stuff, whatever, but that's not necessarily an excuse. It would have been good for him, you know.
Oh, I think so.
I think he got kind of intimidated by his concept. He got trapped in his like concept too much, and he didn't think he could pull it off. Maybe.
Do you know what it is?
He just
What his
didn't.
concept was?
Vaguely.
Oh, what was it?
It was basically just like connecting dots, like, you know, like what Richard does on a day-to-day basis. He takes all the like different news stories and information, and he makes all the connections and figures out the fallacies, or, you know, whatever he's, you know what I mean? Exposes the, you know, the stuff that gets you censored off of YouTube and stuff.
Right. Oh yes, you've succeeded. If you get,
you know,
if you get booted off of YouTube, you have succeeded.
I'm sure we would be booted if we had a following.
Oh, probably.
But no one, you know, and it's our fault for not marketing in it as much as we could.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think we're just getting started. I mean, we're just about to start.
Oh yeah, we are. We are getting started.
We're just about to start that course with Passio. Well, it's perfect time.
That's going to help us greatly in our endeavor. I'm sure of it. Yeah, that starts what, next Monday?
Is it next Monday? Maybe so.
Is it
No,
the
no,
first?
next Monday is the 5th or the 4th.
Oh, the
Oh,
fourth.
it's the 4th. So it's the following Monday.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
We have one more week before we.
Dive into that. That should be
Yeah,
fun.
it's going to be a trip.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a trip. I will try to record that. I might have to buy another terabyte to be able to hold all that stuff, but I am definitely going to screen
Right.
record it so I can have it, go over it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just have a feeling that just being in the presence of those people is going to move us forward into whatever
We're
next
supposed to be doing, yeah.
steps. I mean, I don't think it's that much about the creative process of like devising the thing but I think that will just get worked out.
Right. Or it'll help us on, like, it might give us different technical things that we could do to make our lives easier too, as far as having a live stream and stuff like that. Like the problem I was having with Zoom earlier is if I was using like the live stream software, like the OBS software or something, I probably wouldn't have that problem because I wouldn't need to do it that way. So I would just, in the broadcast software, I would just say, hey, use this camera, use that, do this, you know, and I wouldn't have to have like be signed in a bunch of times. Or maybe I still would be, I don't know. But
Well, we'll see. We'll see, I'm sure. But I mean, I just feel like it's gonna help us to figure out
yeah,
some other things. I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
yeah.
maybe we'll even figure out who our market is. I mean, I think our market is the freedom movement people, but I just, how to get people to actually do art, I don't know.
Yeah,
And get them to do it consistently.
It's an intimidating thing, I think. I think people, there's like a lot of fear around being judged for your art. And so that like stifles a lot of people's creative power.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't just, you know, there's such high expectations on everything, you know, in this world that we're in. It's so ridiculous. I mean,
like
this
yeah,
piece
everything
that
has to be perfect.
This piece that I did tonight, for example, like I would never normally do that piece in color paint. I do these pieces like every day almost in my sketchbook, black and white, but I never paint them. And why is that? Well, I just don't feel like I don't feel like they're worth painting, but maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe they.
Well, see, to me, there's no difference. Drawing and painting are the same thing. You're just using different colors.
Right. Except that the paint is.
Well, it's a different medium. That's the only difference. But the actual how you do it is basically the same.
Right, but it's not like something I can close up in my sketchbook now. Now it's an actual piece of artwork. I have to deal with it. So.
Right. You know, it's bigger. It takes up more space.
Bigger. Yep. It takes up more space and.
Like we should just show up at the show on Friday with like 3 more pieces each and be like, can we hang these? Like, where should we hang these?
Yeah, right. I'm sure that would be not
like, oh, there's some room over here. Like,
yeah, I wonder how many pieces he's getting.
Like show up early and be like, oh yeah, sorry, we have to rehang my whole thing because I got 6 more pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
well, I was telling Jeff too, I was like, hey, this is only probably like an 1/8 of the body of work that I have planned out with all the material I'm trying to go through and do paintings of.
Well, that's cool. You'll have a whole.
like I almost was like, I'm gonna just like put these up not for sale because I want to keep these for my body of work. That's gonna be like a museum someday where you have to pay to come in and see this art, and there'll just be like hundreds of paintings that you walk through a progression and order and learn natural law just from going to the art show or going to the museum.
Huh. That's an interesting way to look at it. And I could actually do that too. I could just do intuitive paintings and discuss
But
natural
then it
law
was
and
like,
see what comes out.
and then I was like, screw it, I'll sell them. And if I can sell them, then I have photos of all of them, so I can just, if I want to do that museum someday, I can just print them out and have, you know, I could even repaint it too, for that matter, if I really want to, or I could print it out and put some paint on it to make it, you know, more like a painting. If I wanted to do that for the museum, you know, it's not like, plus I need the money. Hopefully
Well,
I
it would be
didn't.
nice just to have them get out in the world. I don't want to take anything home with me, really. I
Yeah.
mean, I just don't want any
Yeah,
more
I don't know.
stacks of paintings.
I don't think art's supposed to be sold personally, but
Well, then how do you get rid of it?
just it should just be given to people, but like,
Well,
or
then how do you know
displayed,
which
or it should
people?
just be displayed. It should just be displayed so people can
And
see
then
it,
what? Then burned at the end?
or just like it's always displayed.
Okay.
Because
Well,
if it's good art, then it's important enough to always be seen by some people.
you know, I just saw, who did I see? Somebody
Well, that
today. I just saw a Mona Lisa with a mask on today. I thought that was the most hilarious thing I ever saw. What the fuck was it? I can't remember where I saw that. It was really funny.
but then art and value is so skewed anyways, because it's like the only reason some art is worth more than some other art is just the same reason money exists, because it's
Well,
a
because
belief
it's for money
system.
laundering. It's money laundering. I mean, I
Well,
learned
and it's a
that this
belief
year.
system too, yeah. And it's
It's
like,
just money laundering. The elite just have to move their money from one country to another, so they buy a Van Gogh. That's all.
right. I mean, it's like you could have like a, you know, a Basquiat piece where he just took like some freaking huge ass paintbrush and like a bucket of paint from the hardware store, and he just like wrote some words on like some sign really fast. It probably took him like 5 minutes, you know, and then like that thing's worth like $2 million now, right? And it's just
Well, he's dead.
this like dead, this like homeless practically dude who like, you know, and then like someone could spend like 45 hours like on some painting, like rendering everything perfect, and then like that thing's like worthless to most people, and this Basquiat is like this $2 million thing, and like, and that's not even like a strong piece of his work. That's just like some drunken thing he made, like when he was out on the street, you know. And like, because some of his paintings are actually kind of cool, where like he paints like the whole canvas, like
Dude, it's
some of
after
those.
8. Holy crap.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, I'm just so tired.
It's like we can end this thing anyways. I'm just kind of going into tangents anyways at this point.
Yeah, I'm tired. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm getting there too. I'm getting hungry and thirsty too. I need to go
Yeah, I gotta eat some dinner.
hydrate and stuff. I got paint all over the canvas tonight. I'm
Yeah,
still
it's
not done
good.
with
Is
this,
that
but I'm gonna do
is that
some more
dark
stuff.
purple right there next to the pink?
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'm actually thinking. What?
I was gonna put like stars and stuff in here. Just like out in
And you
space.
probably will.
And
when
then
it's
I
dry.
don't know what the heart. I'm probably gonna have to do something to make the heart less flat too, but
Mm-hmm.
probably be another time and another day.
Mm-hmm. And there's actually pink in the country of Africa, right?
No, that's like tan.
Right, but it doesn't
Like
have
a tan
elements of
brown.
the heart. It's the heart is bringing out the reds that are in that.
Well, there's
Maybe
pink.
it's just a zoom.
Well, the thing is brown is all colors mixed together. So yeah, there's pink in there.
It's interesting.
It's I would say that it's a tan because I was using it for like a flesh tone the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pinker tan. You know, it's hinted. It's a light brown that's hinted towards the magenta side of the
Yeah, it's
spectrum.
definitely cool.
That's what's so cool about browns is you can have a brown that's like a yellower brown, or you can have like a cooler like bluer brown, or you can have like a kind of mid range like magenta y brown, or you can have a greener brown, like a greenish brown, or like a purplish brown, and like
Yep.
those you can play with that. That's really important if you're figure painting actually, because that's how you can change the lighting and stuff. But
Right.
yeah, let's call it a night for tonight, and we'll be back live next Tuesday. If you find yourself in the Pueblo area, we have an art show at the Blowback Gallery that we recommend everyone check out. We'll be running the whole month of July. So if you're in the Pueblo area, go check that out. Blowback Gallery. Truth.
Truth, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet. We'll talk to you
later.
soon, Joanna.
I'll see you Friday, probably.
Yeah.